McConnell put out a statement, so did McCarthy, and then 2 weeks later, the Republicans acquitted him in the Senate. So it didn't matter.
So that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. They didn't hold him accountable. You're lying. You're lying.
Shut up. Pardon. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Your audiences eat this shit up because they respect you.
Okay, just relax.
That's what pisses me off.
Okay.
You're okay.
Let me explain something. Let me explain something real quick. Jesus, could you chill out? Jesus Christ.
Hutch can respond to that.
Let me. Yes.
Defend your gay ass audience, sir.
Pals, I think you're really going to enjoy this video. If you do, please hit the like and subscribe button and comment button. It really helps out. All things being equal, I would listen to an argument against this action that he took, but we just don't live in that world. I can't possibly be made to give a about this. I mean, in the face of everything that Trump did his first term and everything he's certain to do in his second term, it's difficult for me to take seriously the idea that we should be lectured about norms from MAGA Republicans right now. And so, yeah, I'd be happy to get into specifics in the actual debate.
And with that, let's open it up. I think Destiny said something that I'm curious if everyone else feels the same way. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're right here, but you said something to the effect of this argument is not something we should be having because Republicans would never hold their side to this standard. So why are we trying to fight with one hand tied behind our back, basically? Is that kind of like the gist of the argument here?
My gist is I want to hear a defense for the pardon of Roger Stone. And if they can't provide a cogent defense for that, they should never talk about anything having to do with law and order because it's a farce.
Okay, but we do recognize the fact that not every Republican is a MAGA Republican, right?
Did they vote for Trump? Then they're a MAGA Republican. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say or do. It matters who you vote for.
Wait, so is there no reason to push back against bad things that are done on our side if we just accept that the things that they're doing are worse?
No. I want to hear a defense of Roger Stone, and then we can talk about pardons.
Yeah, I'm not defending Roger Stone.
Okay.
That makes sense. That makes sense if they're a Republican and they defend the Roger Stone. We're not gonna. If you're a Democrat or if you're a normal person, if you're not a Trump voter, and you're criticizing this, you would agree that stands to reason. You don't need to like defend the Roger Stone allegation for that, right?
If you're a Democrat and you want to talk about it, you can. I don't know why you would publicly, though, because then we would have to move on to the next point of why is the pardon even corrupt or bad? What is the bad thing about pardoning somebody? Like, should a president not have the ability to pardon? Is that a power that we're against, or are we only against it when Democrats do it?
I oppose both the case that you just said of Roger Stone, and I also oppose this case, because I think both of these are individually corrupt. That's different than saying that existence of pardon.
If you want to, okay, sure. So there's no MAGA person here that will defend any of Trump's pardons, which is good because you shouldn't, because that is actual corruption. We all agree that the Hunter Biden pardon, even if we were to argue it's corrupt, which is an insane argument, we'll get to that. Is it anywhere remotely close to just the pardon alone of Roger Stone?
I would literally have to look that shit up, but I'm assuming that there's plenty of like, so for instance, I've been seeing this all day on Twitter, right? Here are 114 of Trump's former pardons, and they literally show that they did a 4473 violation for some random hip hop artist. They show that who is it? Jared Kushner's dad got pardoned for like tax evasion in 2006. Yep. Like,
whatever,
so yeah,
that sounds like a real good tweet. Whoever made that tweet, that was a real good tweet. Yes.
Real quick. I just want to share. I'm working on getting a headphone right now, so if you talk over me, there's probably going to be an echo. So I just want to get that out there. So I'm working on the headset thing.
Okay.
But that's why you're not going to find me going like, oh yeah, like the Republicans, they would never do this. Like obviously they're sweeping for this, right? And on top of that, but here's my problem. My problem is that the general election, a lot of Democrats are flagellating themselves like, oh, this is a total repudiation of the democratic norms and the Republican system and the rule of law. And it's like, bitch, you lost by 1.5%. It's almost nothing. It's almost negligible. So that means that everything counts. And if everything counts, then when you're like handing the opposition a W, even if it's a 0.01% W, you're giving away ground that you don't need to give away.
Who's changing their mind about anything based on this? Like, what is the health of the country being? Here's
the
I'm
last
curious.
30 days of the election, we were all hoping that a comedian talking about Puerto Ricans was going to be the thing that tipped the balance of the election. So everything counts.
Well, isn't that crazy? I love that you brought that up as an example. Isn't that crazy that the Democrats really wanted people to care about the racist jokes, but nobody gave a fuck? But when the Republicans really want us to care about the pardon of Hunter Biden's son, who is clearly the victim of a highly politicized prosecution, now all of a sudden we've got to change our behavior? Why are we granted that? Why don't the Republicans have to stop and say, wait, maybe we shouldn't have these jokes and maybe we shouldn't have these people? Why do they set the tone on both sides?
Wait, so hold on.
Because whenever a tone change happens from them, people on the opposite side move to whatever they're doing. That's how is what you're proposing any different? You are moving to their tone change.
No, they're the ones who get to set the tone both times. We don't get to set the tone ever. We say, hey, racist jokes at that thing are probably not good, and they're like, it's just jokes, bro. Who cares? And then they get record turnout in Hispanic votes.
So that changes it on their side, but not ours. If we concede to it, then it changes on them both.
Okay, yeah, like counterpoints when you try talking and someone else is talking is just chaos. So let's try to go like one at a time. No, it's all good. But no, can you repeat that, Tuna, just so I can hear it?
Yeah, the Republicans don't feel beholden to our values. That's obvious.
Then
but
why
if
do we
don't feel
attack
beholden
us
to
with
our values, we just bend over to whatever they do, whatever the state of affair and how they decide to conduct themselves, then we are controlled by how they set the sort of status quo of what a politician can or can't do.
No, they're controlling the situation right now by shackling us with values that they're not beholden to. It doesn't make any sense. There is no world where this is advantageous. It doesn't make any sense.
Can you walk me through like what your idea of how we get back to norms is, Stephen?
Civil war. I don't know, honestly. The way that we get back to that's a whole answer. I can give you a real answer. I'll tell you this. Whatever the answer is, it's not Democrats continue to give up more and more and more and more and more, and Republicans do nothing. I'll give you this. I'll change my entire argument right now if you could give me one time in the past decade when the Republican Party has come back to norms. I'll wait. One time.
Sure. In the immediate aftermath of Jan 6, there were a bunch of people. Yeah, in the immediate aftermath of Jan 6, there were a bunch of people who did say a bunch of things in the immediate aftermath. To be clear, a lot of them went back on that. But in the immediate aftermath,
try again. You just defeated your own. Try again.
You asked for one example. We gave you one
example. You asked for an example. I'm trying to lay out why that's an
your example is one day when people who said things like,
let me lay it out.
Okay.
Right. What I'm asking of you is similarly, I'm not saying like throw out Joe Biden and like never vote for the Democratic Party moving forward. I'm saying in the immediate aftermath of something that is an obvious overstep by our side, we should likewise do something as similar as McConnell did, as Ben Shapiro did, as a bunch of people did who were relevant in conservative worlds in the immediate aftermath of Jan 6.
McConnell put out a statement. So did McCarthy the day after, or the couple days after, and then 2 weeks later, the Republicans acquitted him in the Senate. So it didn't matter.
So that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. They didn't hold him accountable. You're lying.
No, I'm lying. I'm not lying. On top of that, the Cheney family came out against Trump. The Bushes failed to endorse him. All major leaders of the Republican Party
no longer political. The Bushes are the leader of the Republican Party.
Put an R next to somebody's name that all of a sudden they're like, there is no evil with which we can do to them. It's bullshit. You're just pissed off that you lost. That's all that happened.
Never Trump Republicans though have proven themselves to be over and over again an irrelevant block. It didn't matter in the end. Like he got the same vote share.
1.5%. Everything counts, you stupid.
He got the same vote share of Republicans that he did in 2020. He got the same vote share. It was 6% of Republicans didn't vote for him this time around. Same in 2020.
An incredibly different dynamic.
Puerto Ricans from you, so maybe we should be analyzing that as well. But at the same time, to say never Trump Republicans are irrelevant, but we only lost by 1.4% is a insane thing to say.
Well, what is your proof that they were relevant, though? They were not decisive in this outcome.
So hold on.
Everyone was decisive. What do you mean they weren't decisive? Everyone was decisive.
Well, okay, one at a time. Counterpoints.
Well, there weren't enough to be decisive, though. That's the point.
Never Trump Republicans as a single demographic block were necessary, weren't relevant in this calculation. Do you have anything for like Hispanics or blacks as like single demographic groups that they were necessary for like for the Democrats to get as far as they got?
No, my point was that Donald Trump enjoyed the same level of support from.
Hold on, wait. Hold on,
let me finish. I'm saying that Donald Trump enjoyed the same level of support as a percentage vote share of his party that he did in 2020. It didn't move the needle at all.
Also,
we wanted it to, but it didn't.
Hold on, that's not evidence. That's not evidence. What you just said is that the needle didn't move, but this individual situations could have moved the needle. It could have been significantly worse in terms of the vote share of Republicans otherwise. There are lots of reasons to expect that it would otherwise have gone up in terms of his vote share, right?
No, but you guys are making this point that the Democrats should hold themselves to the standard because of what now? Like, I still don't understand the logic.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, the macro zoom out again, because we get lost in this so much because it's such a farcical argument. Okay, is you've got a guy who has prepared a full English breakfast, and we're criticizing the fact that he used a little bit too much butter on his toast, and that dish lost. Okay, in Hell's Kitchen to a guy who diarrhea all over his plate and served that to Gordon Ramsay and won the competition. And you're like, no, every little part of the constituency counts against a guy who tried to coup the government, who's corrupt in like 52 million different ways, who pardoned every single criminal around him, who is indicted for criminal acts involving him, right? Who's got 34 whatever convicted felonies, who's got 2 federal cases that are now being dismissed because of a corrupt Supreme Court that issued an opinion that there's so much. The fact that hold on, hold on, wait. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay, I don't know.
Let him
finish. I just need to macro zoom out to show people how these conversations are. We be like, we just got to do these one things to win, and the other guys are literally just on the most insane shit ever. It's such a stupid standard that pardoning Hunter Biden is somehow relevant to winning that 1% of the electorate against a guy who's a traitor to who had to have the Constitution changed in order to run for president again. That's insane.
Connor and I are trying to lay out a way of getting back 1.5% of the country. That's all we need to do. There's lots of other things we'd like to do. That's all we need to do. Get 1.5% of the country to come back to our way. We're saying here are a bunch of steps that we can do to become vaguely, slightly more popular with slivers of the country. And your response is, oh, but we shouldn't have to do that. But like, grow up. We do have to. And
no, you don't. You're the one that needs to grow up. That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
No, exactly how it works. To win the next election.
What's the strategy? We don't have a Supreme Court anymore because Donald Trump has gotten 3 appointees because the Republicans stole one from Obama. And as a result of that,
describing the situation that we're in. We all agree with the situation that we're in.
The fact that we play by norms and the fact that Obama lost the Supreme Court pick literally means that Donald Trump now has unlimited immunity to commit crimes, which means he can't even be held accountable for the things that he does. So this idea we just keep playing by one.
That's a Pisco take, so don't go all over the map, and let's address what you're saying one at a time, okay? So hold on. Let's talk about the plate of analogy with Gordon Ramsay, okay? I'm a Republican, okay? I like representative democracy. I like people with above average intelligence making choices about this country. You're a Democrat. You love the demos. You like the popular vote. You like to appeal to the masses. This is your fault, okay? You like this system. You like it where Gordon Ramsay looks at a plate of diarrhea and he takes a scoop and he goes, that kind of tastes good. And then he's like, hold on, but this buttery piece of toast is a little bit off. Therefore, I'm going to give it to the plate of people. I think these people are okay? I think these people are but we're playing your game, okay?
What are you talking about? Wait,
Winston Churchill has this great quote that I'm going to say every single goddamn time, which is
democracy is the worst system except for everything else. Yeah, that's nothing to do with any of this conversation. I don't know how this is relevant to any part of this.
Connor, are you going to be? Wait, Connor, let me ask you a question.
Game, dumbass.
Let me ask you a question.
You're acting like you don't have to play it, and yet you're completely beholden to it.
No one is talking about what the game. What is the game where you lose a Supreme Court pick? That's not even a democratic issue. That's an issue of the Republic. It's a checks and balances. Just the Republic. What are you talking about?
Was that a norm or a law?
Connor, let me ask.
At the end of the day, if you want to be corrupt as there really are no laws. What do you mean? With the advice and consent of the Senate, what happens if the Senate doesn't advise or consent? I don't know. It's in the Constitution. You tell me.
Yeah, so my argument would be that is likely a norm, and what I've been getting from Democrats all day on Twitter is that we don't have to abide by norms anymore. We should throw it all away. We should go ahead. You know what? The Republic. It didn't work. Republicans are dogs. So as a result, we should throw it all away.
Wait, hold on. You want to know what throwing? You know what? A pardon is not throwing a norm away. You know what throwing a norm away would be? It would be making it so you could never even investigate somebody for a crime linked to a pardon, which is what Donald Trump did. So no, it's not. How, are we saying that pardons now? When Donald Trump explicitly breaks the law or has people tell him to break the law, that's okay. But when Democrats do things that are
No one said
within
that's
the law,
okay.
when Democrats do things that are squarely within the law, the powers granted to the president, that's corruption. What the?
Hold on. So here we can dig into that, but I have like a 2-minute rant on that, and I don't want to derail from what we're doing right now. So if y'all want to fight, and I'm just going to take a note.
Well, I just wanted to ask a question to you guys. When it comes around, or more specifically to you, Connor, are the other two panelists, are you guys Republicans, or are you coming at this from the left?
No, I'm a progressive.
And then
Left.
I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
I literally campaigned for Biden in 2020, admittedly not this time around, but like, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So this question is for Connor then. So Connor, when 2028 comes around, are you going to be tempted to vote for JD Vance over Josh Shapiro because of this thing that just happened? You're making the case that there's going to be
not because of this thing.
So I think one of the points that Destiny was maybe trying to make was like, is this really going to be impactful for the electorate in 2028?
Well, hold on.
Him violating this norm or whatever?
You're asking a question that I kind of want to address with my 2-minute rant. Tuna Chip wants to go though, so I'll hold on.
we got to get well. Yeah, let's go, Tuna. Keep that question in your pocket. I want to make sure Dev, since he's the only one without a body here, he gets a chance to get in. He can't speak to me with his body language. So we're going to go Tuna Chip, Dev, then you can answer a question. Cool. Go.
You can talk all you want about like winning over Republicans. That's not that's not the decisive path to victory. The decisive path to victory would be winning over all of the disenfranchised voters that decided not to vote because they think both of the parties are corrupt, something that this action plays into as a narrative. The number of motherfuckers that Google did Joe Biden drop out on election day because they're so unplugged from politics. That's the problem. The problem is that we have an entire generation of people who don't pay attention to politics because whether or not it's TikTok, you call it TikTok, whether or not but number one, there are objective facts out there that are making them think, oh, well, wait a second. It's all just corruption. It's all just a different us in the ass.
I feel like you're talking about
just let it be the one that more people who are
I
more
feel like you're talking about real quick. I feel like you're talking about a group of people that probably already had that opinion of Biden by now, because the MAGA Republicans for the last like 5 years, their propaganda machine has been going full swing this whole time. And so if you ask like if you ask low info voters, they're probably going to tell you like, oh yeah, Joe Biden corruptly influenced the DOJ during his time. A lot of these people probably buy into the lawfare. Like, I just don't think that this is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back with respect to people losing faith in institutions and norms.
And demographic than I'm talking about. I'm talking about relatively young voters who have decided, whether or not it's because communists on Instagram and TikTok have been making little Hello Kitty memes saying that all democracy is a sham, or quoting anarchist texts or anything with pastel colors. I'm saying there's a very large amount of the youth populace that is not voting because they've been convinced that there's no difference between the parties. And now we're playing into the narrative. And this isn't about redeeming Biden.
Can I ask a question on that? I want to ask a question on that.
Okay? I want to finish the second. This is not about redeeming Biden. This is about making it so that the DNC and other Democrats disapprove of Biden so that his actions, the narrative that he's playing into, doesn't spread to be a general narrative being spread about both parties throughout the entirety of the DNC. Some pushback has to exist so that some people at all, new voters, think that voting even means anything.
Okay, yeah, I want this question answered, okay? What did Democrats gain by allowing Merrick Garland to never be heard for a Supreme Court pick? What did we get for that? Did it cause Republicans or Democrats to have more faith in the judiciary?
Why? We're not talking about people that are established voters. I'm talking about capturing new voters.
I'm asking that when we cuck ourselves out over and over again to Republicans, who is this serving? Because you're saying that, well, people are going to lose faith because of the pardon. When Merrick Garland, okay, waited 2 years, all right, when he rewatched the Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy 457 times before finally investigating Donald Trump, okay, what did we gain for that? Do people have more faith in the system? Do people have more credibility for Democrats? Or do people still say the DOJ is corrupt and is led by the president? Tell me what we got for that. Tell me what we got for waiting for Merrick Garland.
Tell me what you gain by pardoning Hunter Biden. What political
I'm waiting.
tack
No.
did you gain
I
by
want to
that?
know what we got for now, because now we've thrown away the chances forever to hold Donald Trump accountable for any federal crimes and his New York crimes, because now they're not going to sentence him.
This is what I'm saying. You're going
I'm going to repeat
scorched
this question. I'm going to repeat it until I'm waiting. You can kick me off this panel. Well, tell me what we gained. Tell me what we gained. Tell me what we gained. Tell me what we gained for waiting for 2 years for Merrick Garland to press charges. Or to even investigate. I want to hear an answer to that question. One person. I just want to answer that.
Who?
I want to know what we gained by having Merrick Garland wait for 2 years before he actually formally started investigating Donald Trump's bullshit, before the indictments came.
Nothing. If anything, I think that was probably a bad move.
So it sounds like then trying to remain apolitical or trying to appeal to the voter base or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Is anybody here arguing that we should have waited 2 years to investigate Trump? If anything, I think the Democrats and the DOJ themselves by waiting for all of the DOJ stuff to be lined up right in time with the election. Because basically,
there it is.
Like,
yeah.
Hold up. What it looked like was we're not trying to get the prosecutions complete and convictions done based off of the letter of the law. We're trying to give him a black eye during the election. That's what it looked like.
Republicans, how do they control it always? If the prosecutions start immediately, which is what Garland was worried about, it would look political. But if they wait 2 years, well, now it still looks political. This is exactly what I'm saying. And it was the same thing with the Hunter Biden shit too. So then here's the question. What was corrupt about pardoning Hunter Biden?
Okay, so I have my rant. Can I go? He's asking me. Okay.
I do want to give a chance to SFO though. Poor guy sitting there in the corner, right, in his chair. But no, go ahead, answer, and then I want to pass the ball. Go ahead. Answer your question. No, Connor, it's you.
Connor, you
yeah, and then we'll go to SFO after. Yes, go.
So the narrative by the for Democratic establishment and Republican establishment is that they are selling us out to international interests. That is one of the main narratives of MAGA Republicans, right? So Hunter Biden, over the past decade, as a lawyer, has traveled overseas as a financial advisor and a lawyer and solicited donations to his private investment firm from essentially corrupt international oligarchs. There's a Romanian one who's been under investigation for corruption. There's the Chinese one who was killed by his own government. There's the entire deal with Burisma that was effectively like $500,000 to $1 million a year. Over the course of a decade, he took $11 million from foreign companies to put into an investment firm. Now, unfortunately for us, this is all legal. And if you're going to hit me with Jared Kushner, guess what? I'm going to agree with you.
Why did you just bring up a whole bunch of legal shit?
Shut up.
Pardon.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I know you can. So what Hunter got caught doing, which was illegal, was he was funneling all of that money back to his immediate family without reporting it for taxes.
Wait, hold on.
So
Weiss,
hold on. I'm not done yet.
Weiss investigated. Weiss, hold on. Wait. Hold on. Weiss investigated this. Weiss investigated this for. Weiss investigated this for 6 years and decided that.
And I'm probably going to address what you're going to say. So you're just wasting your breath. Okay. So he not only did he fail to report his taxes, but in his own memoir, he effectively admitted to evading his own taxes. Okay. This was reported as being swept for by the DOJ, by the IRS whistleblowers. And as a result of the deal falling through, the DOJ then went back and charged him with multiple felonies and misdemeanors, which, by the way, he was convicted of. So are we, a year ago, you were arguing with me, all the people who were sweeping for this, you were arguing with me that basically the system is working out the way that it needs to. You just need to give it time, have faith. Well, now that he's been convicted, is it, the system is rigged against him? Are you don't piss on my leg and tell me it's rain, right?
Okay,
so
now can they go? Now can they go in your
Go ahead. We're almost done.
Oh, you're not done?
Now that Biden has pardoned his son, basically what we're saying is it's okay for you to go overseas and make loads of cash from corrupt overseas oligarchs. And as a matter of fact, not only is this okay, this should be the norm. That's what you're telling me right now.
Okay, so Weiss investigated the Hunter Biden's business dealings for the last 5-6 years. He determined that they did not have enough evidence to bring a case. He did not think that they would get conviction. That's the legal process. That's how
was
that
he
played out.
convicted of within the past, like,
One
3
more thing. Tax liabilities are routinely settled in civil court when the person admits
you're just
that.
wrong.
Hold on.
You're just wrong. So, okay, so why
what
was
do you
he
mean I'm
just
wrong? Hold on a
Let
second.
Hutch finish. You got hold on. Counterpoint. You went on a rant. You took a lot of time.
Well,
We're gonna let
you're
Hutch
wrong
finish.
thing.
Then we got to go to SFO because that poor SFO, he's never gonna come on my show again.
Failure
Those
to
things are-
file, and then having enormous tax liabilities are routinely settled in civil court if the person admits wrongdoing and commits to paying it back. Roger Stone.
So the
had
DOJ is
hold on,
corrupt.
1 second. Roger Stone had it's called a prosecutorial discretion, bro. Roger Stone had a way bigger tax liability than Hunter
Hold on,
Biden
can I
did.
real quick Hutch on that. Hold on, okay? Hutch, you just said something and it was so wrong, but I appreciate why you said it, okay? Hutch said prosecutorial discretion, okay? And Hutch is correct. That's not what happened here, though, because the prosecutor did have a deal worked out that they were on the table ready to accept. And you know what? You said, is the DOJ corrupt? If you want to point to corruption in an entity, in an institution, the reason why Democrats are so critical is because when Trump says it, there's nothing. There's nothing there. With David Weiss, who was a Trump-appointed judge, who was getting a ton of public pressure to reject the plea deal that was on the table, that happened. That did happen. This isn't even prosecutorial discretion. This is judicial discretion. Weiss threw out the plea agreement that the attorney had worked out with Hunter Biden that they'd already agreed to. And they had to go back
so I have
to
a
the table
question
to do
for you.
something different. So, yes, that is corruption. It is.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
No, he can go ahead. He can go ahead. Go.
In my ear, and they're acting like they're doing me a goddamn favor. So have either of you watched the IRS whistleblowers on stream?
Has anybody watched the what?
The IRS whistleblowers that I tagged you in a year ago.
Those guys felt like their investigation was being hamstrung, but Weiss had come out and said, I think, like behind the scenes, if it were up to him, he wouldn't be prosecuting the stuff like the tax stuff or the gun stuff, because normally these things don't come from like the feds. The reason why there was so much the reason why it eventually happened was because there was a load of political pressure that were put on this team by House Republicans
Do you know where
who
the
were trying
political pressure
to
came
exert
from?
political pressure
The
on this
fuel for
investigation.
that political pressure. The
Hutch
fuel
was
for
right.
that
Weiss was
political
a
pressure.
prosecutor. My bad. I fucked that
The
up.
fuel
Sorry.
for that political pressure. The fuel for that political pressure was 2 IRS whistleblowers who were, one was nonpartisan, the other one was a Democrat, and they basically said that their investigation was hamstrung by the DOJ. And on top of that, the
It's
female
not
fucking
up to
assistant
them. They
attorney
don't
who was
decide.
assisting in the-
They don't decide
I'm gonna
whether or
finish my
not
sentence. I don't give a
charges.
fuck. I'm gonna
They
finish my
don't-
sentence. It doesn't matter.
Okay, that's fine.
Is
They
that
can
she
feel
was
that way. That's
sweeping for the
fine.
Bidens and basically playing footsie with them the entire goddamn time.
They
so
can-
this testimony has been available for an entire year, and somehow, despite me talking about it with you, basically,
They can feel
still
however they want.
almost
They can
unpaid attention to.
They can feel however they want. At the end of the day, David Weiss, a U.S. attorney,
30-year veterans
a
of
U.S.
IRS fucking law enforcement.
a
Yeah,
U.S.
they can feel
attorney-
however they want.
a
hold
U.S.
on, go.
attorney
I
in-
appreciate the energy counter, but you gotta let him respond to you.
At the end of
Go
the
ahead.
day, David Weiss and his team of prosecutors, a guy who was appointed U.S. Attorney in Delaware, a guy who investigated Hunter Biden for several years, looked into his business dealings. He was the one that determined that they didn't have sufficient grounds to bring criminal charges. The whistleblowers
okay,
can feel
wrong.
whatever
Fine.
they want to feel. It's not up to them whether or not someone brings charges.
Wait,
so like
hold on. So hold on.
in order
Your
to
narrative.
determine whether or not like this was appropriate, we would have to look at similar cases. Is it routine for the DOJ to like throw people in prison for failure to file if they
See,
especially
Hutch,
hold on
not failure
hold
to
on
file.
one second, especially when someone is on a drug bender. A lot of the times when people commit crimes on drug bender, when they're on a bender, if they commit to sobriety, if they commit to treatment, like this routinely happens in courts all over the country, in federal courts. People will be given a chance to settle with the government, pay a fine, go to treatment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like you would have to demonstrate that people are out there routinely being charged, criminally charged, and sentenced to jail for the same crimes that Hunter Biden was. And you just can't.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
not
so
a
you're
normal
unfamiliar
thing.
with the content of the case. That's totally fine. I get it. So basically, if you go watch the IRS whistleblower,
I did watch that.
conversation. I'm answering exactly
They felt
some of the
hamstrung.
points that
They
you have
felt
raised
hamstrung,
here,
and they
okay?
can have that
I'm
opinion,
answering
but it's not up to
exactly
them.
Some of the points that you raised here.
Sure.
What? Okay. So anyways, if you go watch it, they basically say, no, we had sufficient grounds in order to believe that not only was this failure to file, but this was intentional evasion. As a matter of fact, based off of my 20 or 30 years of training and experience, this is actually an academy-based headshot for a tax evasion case. So as a result, when we had the state's attorney's office effectively sweeping for Hunter Biden and trying to make a deal and playing footsie with the lawyers, we saw this as wildly inappropriate, totally against everything that we've done as law enforcement agents. And on top of that, we weren't, we tolerated as much as we could until eventually we had to blow it up. And then as a result of it blowing up, what happens is then what? The DOJ reverses course on everything. And by the way, here's another detail that you got. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Here's another detail that you guys consistently omit is the fact that the deal that fell apart because they were going to negotiate on the tax charges and the gun charges. But when the DOJ wasn't willing to give him broad sweeping, not pardon, but whatever, broad sweeping forgiveness for potential FARA violations, and they said, hey, no, those are still on the table for prosecution, that's when Hunter withdrew his plea deal. So then they said, we're going to go for it. So by the way, last year, you told me, let the system play out the way that it's supposed to do. You shouldn't be so skeptical of the DOJ. Why the f are you grilling my balls about the way that it played out?
Do you disagree that there was political influence on this investigation?
Of course there was political influence, but the argument was that it was going both ways.
Both ways, and what is comparable? What do you mean?
I literally just said 30 seconds ago that the IRS whistleblowers thought that the DOJ was playing footsie. That's fine. They can have that opinion. They can have that opinion, but it's not up to them whether or not to bring charges. That is up to the prosecutor. Yeah, so and Weiss said he never felt any pressure from Garland to go one way or the other on this one. This was a Trump appointee. Sure. This was a Trump appointee who, again, investigated Hunter for several years. And he came to the conclusion that he didn't want to bring charges when it came to the business stuff, to the FARA stuff. The scenario that the man is now convicted of 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors?
Because you said, wait.
Let Destiny go.
Yeah, no.
No, Destiny, you go ahead. You got it.
Okay, so hold on. I'll press.
Oh, so no, neither of you finish, or you're going to let Counterpoints dish out.
How does this rebut the fact that he is now convicted of 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors? So what you're saying
rebut anything. I don't know. Wait. How would that rebut anything?
So hold on. So the DOJ, Weiss said he didn't feel pressured one way or the other. The deal falls through. Weiss says, "F it, I'm going hard," and he gets.
Wait. Hold on. To be clear, you keep saying this. Wait, real quick. You keep saying the deal fell through. They reneged on the deal.
Who did?
Weiss did.
What did he renege?
You said it yourself. They changed the terms of the deal such that they weren't going to give immunity.
There was a disagreement.
Did you say they weren't going to give immunity for anything else relating to these particular batch of crimes, right?
They were going to negotiate on the gun charge and the tax charges. They were not going to negotiate on FARA.
That was initially part of the plea deal, though, was that this case would be done.
I don't think so at all. I would have to see you bring any kind of evidence to say that was a part of the plea deal.
No, the original.
Hold on.
Just to be super clear, so you're saying that Weiss didn't change the plea deal at all, that the scope of that deal, that didn't change at all. It was just Hunter Biden walking away from it after agreeing to it?
Yeah, because he thought it was broader in scope than it was.
So they were just misunderstanding that.
Yes.
Okay. I'll find an article for that in 1 second. Okay. But the second question is, for the IRS agent, you keep bringing up over and over and over again. Okay. What is because you have screamed that you've watched all this. What is like the silver bullets they had here, that there was some kind of or that smoking gun? What is the misconduct that they were alleging?
So there was a female assistant state attorney who was negotiating the deal in order to finish whatever. Now, bear in mind, I am summarizing this hearing. Okay. And they consistently got warrants to follow up on parts of the investigation that they felt would be corroborating to the case. They kept getting shut down by the DOJ on following through on things that they believed were routine to the investigation.
She served at the behest of Weiss. She was on Weiss's team. She was representing him.
Okay, and what does that change about what I said?
And a Trump appointee ultimately is responsible for how that played out.
Listen, I get it. I'm small time. I'm a city cop. But if state attorney is not going to tell me the limits of a criminal investigation. I'm going to go do the criminal investigation, and then they can decide what to do with the evidence.
I don't know what that means. I mean, he is ultimately responsible for what is for whether or not the charges are brought. He's the one that makes that call.
We're missing the forest for the trees here. Like,
no, we're not. No, the details are important because when he just makes these random statements that just get to hang with no pushback, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely not random. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I titled it. So not only did I speak to you about this a year ago, I'm pretty sure I titled the video, "I dare Destiny to react to the IRS whistleblowers thing." I'm pretty sure that's the title on my channel. Not that I expect you to pay attention to my channel, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like I made this a secret for the past year.
So what? Okay, so the IRS whistleblowers, what was their job in relation to this investigation, or what are they? What are these people? Do they work
looking
the IRS?
they were looking into Hunter Biden's finances. They were looking into the back end stuff.
What is their job? What are IRS whistleblowers? What are they? What do these people do for work?
They're IRS cops.
They were investigators. Okay. Yes, they were looking into Hunter's finances.
Okay, so they're investigators. They're looking into Hunter's finances. They're asking for what, like a warrant or a subpoena? And is David Weiss saying no, or what? Who's saying no, and for what reason?
Okay, so allegedly it's the female assistant state attorney who works for Barry Weiss who's saying no.
Barry Weiss,
which
David Weiss.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so then, what was her reason for saying no? What do the IRS whistleblowers say?
So they say that they have worked 20 to 50 years, like cumulative experience between these two people.
Why did they say that their requests were shut down?
They were alleging she was partisan.
They were saying that it was because of they said it's because of an improper friendly relationship between the DOJ and the Hunter Biden defense
deal, basically. Yeah.
Okay, between the Trump appointed prosecutor and Hunter Biden, there was a friendly relationship.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
Okay. And we have no evidence of that whatsoever, right? I'm guessing.
Aside from the
Except
testimony.
for 10 hours of congressional testimony. Yeah. Besides that, you don't have anything.
You seem to think that because these people felt hamstrung, that's definitive evidence
besides the fact that they wrote a warrant for a location that they wanted to go get, investigative related documents that were stored there. And then the DOJ goes and tells Hunter's team about it. Yeah, besides that, we don't have anything.
Is it not standard for IRS cops, investigators, to be denied subpoenaed or denied subpoenas? Like, are they just given carte blanche every time they request a subpoena?
Except for they were told in the conversation that, yes, I believe there's probable cause, but however, because of the timing, we're not going to go through with this warrant.
Okay, they can have that.
I would view that as improper sweeping for your target. Yeah,
they can have that opinion, but that's not definitive evidence that there was like partisan politics at play. And I feel like this whole argument just falls on it, like just completely evaporates when, again, the guy who was in charge of the investigation was this guy David Weiss, who Republicans were like amping up, and they were really hoping that he was going to be the guy to like throw Hunter Biden in prison. And now they hate this guy, and now Jim Jordan is doing interviews yesterday saying that they're going to haul David Weiss up for a congressional inquiry. It's just the whole story is just so flimsy. There is no like hard evidence.
Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's get past legality. Do you think that the argument that Trump says, which by the way, I think Trump's full of shit. You guys know me. I campaigned for the Kamala campaign a month ago, right?
Solidarity.
So anyway,
that's a victory.
Do you think that it hurts or helps the narrative that our political elites are selling us out to international corporations when you have the president's son for a decade working with international corrupt companies, taking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into his personal accounts, funneling it into his family accounts, not reported to the IRS properly. And then even after that, it's proven that this isn't a failure to file, this is tax evasion. He's charged and convicted, and then he's given a pardon at the last moment. Now, again, as a father, I get it, but I'm just talking about, don't you think that is rocket fuel for the narrative that we're sold out by our political elites?
Again, I'm pushing back on the idea that it's standard practice to prosecute people for these kinds of tax issues. Roger Stone, his tax liability was orders of magnitude larger than Hunter Biden's, and his involvement. No, but I'm just making the point. I'm making the point that this is not like inconsistent with DOJ practice. Like they very, very oftentimes will settle these matters in a civil court.
Here's another detail. Is it routine for somebody like a politically connected private person to have their IRS tax bill bailed out by a major Democrat donor? And you could say Republican, I don't give a but is it normal? So oftentimes on Twitter, I will get the rebuttal. Well, didn't he cover his tax bill? Isn't everything caught up? Hunter Biden didn't pay the tax bill.
Who gives a
random Democrat
gives a is that against the law?
Why?
Of all the things to be upset about, this is so silly to me.
You know what,
that a wealthy benefactor settled the IRS bill?
Why I care. I'm going to answer you exactly why I care. Because if I smoke crack, if I bang hookers, if I cheat on my wife, if I get my dead brother's widow addicted to methamphetamine, if I'm alleged to have banged my niece, if I take millions of dollars and launder it into my family, and then on top of that,
where are you getting this millions of dollars laundered into my family?
When the DOJ was fucking sweeping for me, then nobody in their right mind would defend me. But we have two people here tonight who are both wildly intelligent political pundits who are pulling out the stops to defend this behavior as normal. So here, not only that,
let me explain.
One thing that pisses me off is the fact that your audiences eat this shit up because they respect you.
Okay, just relax.
That's what pisses me off.
Okay,
what pisses me off is that you're
Let me explain something. Let me explain something real quick. Jesus, chill out. Jesus Christ.
Let's let Hutch respond to the. Hutch can respond to that.
Let me. Yes.
Defend your gay ass audience, sir.
Is that what he just said?
Yeah.
Let me just briefly explain, and then I want to hear from my other panelists because I feel like you and me have been going through it. I feel like you and me have been going back and forth for a little too long now. So I come from recovery circles, okay? I am surrounded in my community by people who sank to the lowest depths you could possibly imagine when they were in the grips of an addiction. And a lot of these people did terrible things. And I have seen hundreds and thousands of people completely turn their lives around and get on a good path. I don't think that we necessarily should judge people based on what they do when they're in the grips of something like a drug addiction. I say the same thing for Jordan Peterson. I say no, this is a separate issue. I'm just saying, like, you brought up like the drug abuse stuff, and I say the same thing when it comes to like Jordan Peterson. So when I talk about his drug addiction, some people in my chat make fun of him. I make it a point to say every time, like, that to me is like off limits. Drug addiction is real. People do really fucked up shit when they're in the grips of a drug addiction. And Hunter Biden has been sober for 5.5 years now. So for him to go through everything he went through in terms of all that political, all those political attacks from the Republicans and maintain his sobriety, I think is pretty remarkable. I think people should be allowed to redeem themselves.
You got to get more people in. You got to get more people in. We're on this point.
He brought up the drugs. That's why I talked about that.
As long as criminals feel bad after their crimes, then I guess we can forgive them.
Yeah.
Before anyone else goes, I want to get Short Fat Otaku a chance to get in here.
Literally, yes.
Right before we go off on any other tangents and stuff. SFO, you've been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
So Connor, I'm generally against you in this, but for this part of the conversation, you are more correct. I decided to look it up. Biden and we signed the pretrial division agreement, included the immunity guarantee. Things went sideways. I posted the articles in the group chat, by the way, if you want to look at them. But basically what happened was the judge started to question the deal. She started to poke some holes in it, and then it was pulled. So there might have been some handshaking happening there.
Listen,
but I'm not equipped to talk about that.
There was something that happened before that, though. There was something that happened before that, though. Like the original agreement, there was like an issue. There was a big disagreement about the scope of the immunity, but there was also an issue of like whether or not he would be charged with the tax stuff. Originally, he wasn't going to be charged with the tax stuff. And as I already mentioned, there are so many other high profile cases where the tax liability was so much larger, where there was no criminal charges that were brought. Because they decided to bring those charges, that initially caused Hunter Biden's lawyers to like walk away from the deal. Then they re-entered negotiations, but their decision, Weiss's decision to pursue criminal charges on the tax stuff, did immediately follow intense political pressure from Republicans on Capitol Hill.
After it had all been paid back.
Yes.
Right. Like these charges are coming after everything had already been paid back. Right. The way that the story works is it just relies on a clever and misinformed telling of how all international business and all international relations work. The idea that like, well, a guy's working for corrupt companies overseas and he's making money and his taxes are unreported. Like, you're painting this whole insane story of this insanely corrupt business of this guy who's working for these seedy, shady companies overseas. He's getting his money and he's getting kickbacks to his family, and he's lying about these illegal companies he's working for, and he's not declaring it on his taxes, getting his money illegally. Those are FARA violations, by the way, which surprisingly he was never charged with, right? And it's crazy that we have this insanely hot narrative for this man who was investigated for 4 years, okay, by Weiss and his team, not to mention however many Jim Jordan circle jerk sessions they have in Congress for how many different committees have to come together to also, okay, analyze, from 42 different angles, the size of Biden's plus how much crack he smoked in whatever given video, okay? Despite all of this, at the end of this whole road of this insane CIA counter op story you're giving me, we've got a couple tax charges for taxes that are already paid on amounts that are smaller than other people, Roger Stone included, have only seen civil penalties for. And then we have insane 4473 gun violation charges, okay? Because of a thing that he wrote in a memoir in 2021, and because they found cocaine residue on a gun holster, all right?
Yeah, do you know what's so great? Do you know what's so great about this? Is because you get to, like, emotionally label all of this. You're like,
you're the one that was emotionally labeling everything. You said working for, you said he was working for corrupt companies overseas and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Do you know where I get my evidence that he was involved in insane shit? It's from Hunter Biden's own text message chain, where he's saying, he's talking, hold on, I'm going to tell you. You don't need to interrupt me. So he's talking to a personal confidant, and he says, I can't believe all the wild shit I'm wrapped up in. My contact in China who gave me hundreds of thousands of dollars is now missing and presumed dead. This isn't me making
what does that
shit
have
up.
Wait. Explain that statement. Wait. Explain that statement. What did that statement have to do with anything we're talking about? Tie that back in.
Because Destiny, and I can't believe that you're pretending to be this obtuse, because you said that I am inflating emotionally the narrative. I'm not inflating the narrative emotionally whatsoever.
How did that statement tie into any illegal improper?
You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it.
I'm going to ask the same question when you're done with this.
I am curious what that has to. Hold on. Counterpoints, please.
It doesn't tie into anything.
I'm curious what like that statement you just read about how a Chinese confidant or someone gave him hundreds of thousands of dollars and now missing. Which charge is that related to, or potential charge?
It would have been the tax evasion.
Why? How?
Why? Because he's taking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars over the course of a decade from other companies, and he's failing to report it properly to the IRS. And the people that he's in business with are corrupt people who end up getting arrested or murdered in their countries of origin.
The process is
When you say
Jack reads a narrative about this, and it would sell off of the bookshelves. But you guys are like, no, this is every day in Washington. No, it's not.
But he was investigated for it, though, bro. He was investigated for years.
And he got charged and convicted.
No, you're talking about funneling millions of dollars to his family. There has never been any evidence. Hold on, wait. Let me say no. David Weiss. Okay, go ahead.
You guys keep saying, and he was investigated with the implication being that nothing was found. Yep. But he was charged and convicted of.
I don't think anyone's contending that he wasn't.
We're talking about the financial crimes.
The pardon, and we've gone.
Wait. But the things he was charged with were taxes.
Yes.
Not for having people murdered overseas or FARA violations or corruption.
Destiny, the Chinese government did.
No, you're not. I feel like you're not processing what we're saying.
Wait, real quick. The money.
You take millions of dollars.
That has nothing to do with anything. He could have made the money working at Dairy Queen and not reported it. But these are tax charges. It has nothing to do with illegal or corrupt.
Al Capone. He was only convicted of tax evasion. He was never found guilty of murder.
You gotta let the people respond to you. You got to.
The criminal justice system played out. The criminal justice system played out. He was investigated for these financial crimes that you're definitively declaring happened. You just said a moment ago that he funneled millions of dollars to his family. Not only was he investigated by Prosecutor Wise, he was investigated by the Comer-led subcommittee in the Republican-led House. They investigated Hunter Biden's business dealings for 2 straight years, and the most they could come up with was a $10,000 check that was given to that Biden gave to his brother for a car loan.
You know what,
That's
Hutch?
all they came
I love
up with.
that you brought this up.
Yes.
I love that you brought this up. Okay.
Right.
So as a part of the IRS testimony, what Hunter Biden did is he took hundreds of thousands of dollars that he got from random folks overseas and he channeled them to immediate family members of himself and his uncle and his dad. And those things weren't properly taxed. What the
Wait, no, the
IRS
Republicans-
Wait,
When you say he funneled money, when you say that 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 he funneled money, when you say
Well,
that he
let
funneled money,
Destiny question. You Counter, shut up. Counter, shut up for a moment.
Yeah,
I've let you know a lot. Destiny, go ahead.
Just step by step, okay? Because we do these fungibility of money things. It's so stupid, okay? If I go to China and some guy and I sell marijuana to a dude and he pays me $10, and then I come back home and I'm out with a friend and that friend is like, "Oh, will you cover dinner?" and I pay for dinner. You can't come by and be like, "Destiny did illegal drug sales in China and he that money right to his streamer friend when they were in Miami." Like, is there any evidence? Is there any evidence that directly links any of Hunter's dealings in any of these corrupt or criminal manners to family members? Because Hunter is making money in a lot of different ways. You can't just say that he made $10 million. Let's look at $100,000 anyway from this place, and then look at any money that he paid there. I'm going to connect these things directly. That's retarded.
No, it's not. Because if you had actually watched the IRS investigation whistleblowers, this isn't $10 for a weed deal in China. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars from international.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars is nothing. If you said he made $10 million, that's not any amount of money. $100,000? You said he made millions and millions of dollars.
Anyways, I was in the middle of a sentence. Thank you. So what ended up happening was those hundreds of thousands of dollars went to family members, and when the IRS agents wanted to go to family members to say, "Hey, you took like tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, from Hunter Biden," did he tell you that this was income or this was gifts? They were prevented from doing so by the DOJ, who was rubbing feet with the Biden defense.
And they literally just pull their tax forms? You would see that on their taxes. It would be reported as either a gift or income, no?
And the Republicans had subpoena power. The Republicans had, bro.
That was the problem.
Connor, the Republicans in Congress,
the Republicans have to show their taxes to the IRS? What are you talking? What?
Okay. So it has to get taxed.
I feel like we're relitigating the actual charges. Let's just all understand that the charges, whether they be farcical or not, they happened, right?
They're not farcical.
He was convicted.
Not the financial ones. Not this like funneling millions of dollars to family. This is all just conjecture.
Hold on.
All of it.
So hold on. It's not even conjecture. It's a part of the investigation, you twat. Don't say wrong things in front of me and I won't yell at you.
The Republicans in Congress had subpoena power. Do you deny that?
So anyways, I'm going to explain something.
Wait, no,
because
Connor,
it's very simple.
you've been talking a lot. Do you deny it?
Anyways, what happened was,
Connor, do you deny that they had subpoena power? The Republicans in Congress.
Overseas companies. He failed to report it for taxes. When they wanted to follow up with the people that he gave that money to, they also did not report it on their taxes. Now, those people have plausible deniability because if it's something like a gift or something like that, then and they believe that the taxes were already taken out of it, then they don't have any kind of liability. But if they knew that it was income and they failed to report, then they would potentially get wrapped up. That is what the IRS
David Weiss killed this because he's friends with Biden. Is that what you're saying? And David Weiss killed this because he was friends with Biden. Is that what you're saying?
No, he didn't. His assistant state attorney tried to kill it, and then the IRS whistleblowers.
Oh my god.
Okay. Let's give it to Quibbles. Try to.
Okay, I have two basic questions. My first question is whether the people on this call think that Counterpoints. I don't know why I did that thing. Think that that Connor is existing in this like post-truth world, as the MAGA world does, which I assume everyone agrees that he does not live in that world. He's certainly not MAGA. And then the second question that I have is this the kind of argument that we want to be having going into 2026 and going into 2028, or do we want to be able to center the conversation primarily on the matters of Trump's corruption? And if our goal is to be focusing on Trump's corruption, is it useful for us to be continuing to relitigate this kind of bullshit over and over and over, or does it make more sense to just say, hey, like he's probably guilty, and even if we want to like figure it out, then let's let the justice system figure it out rather than doing this bullshit where we're pardoning him, and let's allow the actual like conversation to be built around the matters of Trump's corruption, which are much more clear.
Again, all things.
Well, first of all, the justice system did figure it out, and he pardoned him. That's all of that is Nothing's wrong or corrupt.
Wait, the justice system figured it out and he pardoned them.
You know, he's not a part of the justice system.
It's not
right?
done yet.
He's
actually.
not part of the justice system.
He interrupted.
Wait,
He interrupted part of the
What do you
process. They
think-
weren't
what do you
completely
think
done yet.
You know that a
Chief
pardon isn't
executive.
just for turkeys not getting killed on Thanksgiving. What do you mean?
Oh, okay.
The
so
pardon system.
if I pardon
Counterpoints, let
The pardon
Hagrid
system-
explain. I'm
the
sorry,
pardon
let Quibbles
system is
explain.
meant-
Quibbles, go ahead.
Yeah, the pardon system is meant to be in cases where we have come to a conclusion in terms of the justice system, but now there's overwhelming evidence that the justice system got it wrong, and either we have DNA evidence that proves that the justice system got it wrong, or for some other reason, we're overwhelmingly confident that it is clearly wrong. That's the point of the pardon system as originally designed.
That's the point of an appeal, and that's the point of overturning something. That's not the pardons are not supposed to be for your appeals process or for new evidence to reopen a case. That's completely and totally incorrect. A pardon is for somebody that is guilty of a crime. That's why they have to generally accept the fact that they're guilty before they accept the pardon. That's what a pardon is for.
I feel like the argument should be centered around the nature of like the pardon powers for the presidency. That's what the real conversation is about. So like, unless you reform those powers, every single president is going to engage in favorable pardons. Like, can you think of a single president off the top of your head that didn't engage in this kind of action? It just so happens that Donald Trump did it to a comically absurd degree. We're talking about pardoning people like Janine Pirro's husband, who was found guilty of tax evasion. He just gave him a pardon. Dinesh D'Souza just gave him a pardon. So like the fact that Donald Trump did this like over like 100 times, I just can't be bothered to give up about this. If you want to have a conversation about the pardons, whether or not they're okay, like fine, let's do that, but let's center the conversation about like, should presidents have this authority, or should governors have this authority, like when we're talking about the states? That's a fair question to ask. But in the current climate, it just seems absurd to be like, we're talking about this instead of Kash Patel being nominated to lead the FBI. Like, which one do you think is a more severe violation of a norm?
We're not allowed to talk about any of the
You're not the reason that we're talking about this.
Even when we allowed the Republicans to walk all over us and get whatever they want, what the do we get? Like, you guys, like, they stole a Supreme Court pick. Trump got unlimited criminal immunity from everything. Are we talking about Trump's corruption now? Like, did that further any of those conversations? Oh no, wait, he didn't even see a federal courtroom. Wow, how far did that get us?
How far did talking about Trump's corruption get us, though? Like, this has been front page.
It got us
news
nowhere
for
because we didn't actually
years.
do anything with the system. Because we waited 2 years to start the federal
But we've
prosecution
been
on him.
talking about it in newspapers, in blogs, on streams.
Yeah, but we didn't want to seem politically
Constantly.
biased, so we sat there and we waited. So we sat there and we waited. Yeah, and we waited and nothing happened. You know what I would have liked to have seen? I wish that Merrick Garland would have been as eager to go after Trump for his classified documents as he was to go after Biden for his.
Sure. But that wasn't a result of us not talking about it, right? Like, so this complaint that we always talk about one thing but never talk about the other thing.
But we are only talking about one thing. Our entire concept of the universe changed when that indictment, or when the investigation was announced by Merrick Garland, because it was the first evidence of faster than light travel, because Merrick Garland was so fast to appoint a special counsel the microsecond that those documents were found in Biden's garage. Meanwhile, Trump has his 57th box of documents moved from one room to another just for jokes, okay? Obstructing an actual FBI investigation, all right? And it's like, okay, well, hold on. What does her think about this? Okay, we got to get a report out here about, like, what are we getting for any of it? We have norms only work when both sides are following the norms. You don't gain anything by upholding norms on your side.
How do we get back to
You don't think then that the solution is to hold them to the norms? No one, I think, here is. I don't think anyone here is fighting you and saying. No one here is fighting you, but when we're saying that we're not going to also do the other end of the thing, which is try and create a public narrative that motivates enough people to vote so that we get out of losing the entire executive, judicial, and House and Senate, we have to dig a hole out of here. So far, for a normal person, this is what they see. The DNC begs Biden to drop. Biden says he's not going to. He's going to stay in the race. He eventually drops. He hands it directly to Kamala, getting rid of the due practice that is usually adopted by the DNC. Then Kamala runs. She loses. Same day, actually, before even that, the same day that he drops out, he also says he's not going to pardon his son. He says, I'm not going to do it with Hunter. Let me finish. This is important. He lets Kamala run and lose a loss that is very likely because of his actions, his selfish actions. Then, as soon as she loses and it's no longer going to affect the election, he suddenly changes his mind and he pardons Hunter. The second that it won't impact election results. It seems as if the only reason he promised before to not pardon Hunter is because he was like, you know what, that might affect the election. But now that I've lost, let's go ahead and sneak it in. I'm waiting for the next promise Biden makes so I can put $1 million betting against it. That's how confident people have to think of the DNC as just being illegitimate liars right now. Something needs to be a contradictory narrative to that.
To say that something needs to be contradictory, that's why we lost, is because people like you already have that idea that we have to rise to some impossible standard while Republicans are literally subhuman filth, okay, that are just rolling around in the dirt. What?
Principle is an impossible standard.
Principle, showing up to a knife fight with your fists over and over again and getting stabbed in the eyeballs is what we're doing.
I don't buy this.
And you're saying if we can just have the eyeball chopped out, okay, then finally we'll be able to
heartbeat. Okay, so hold on. So just to be clear, I get. By the way, I understand the.
Please stop saying that. Please just get your point. Stop saying the thing over and over again. I'm like, I'm not supporting Trump. Just get to the point. Jesus, you do this a million times. I don't know why.
Because you're getting mugged. Anyways, so the point is that what advantage does pardoning Hunter confer? Now, if you want to say as a father,
what disadvantage does it confer?
The fact that now everybody thinks you're
electoral.
Well, that ship has sailed.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
That ship
now
has
people don't
sailed.
trust the criminal justice system. Now people think that the parties are corrupt. Now, what's changed?
That ship has sailed.
We lost by 1.5%.
Of the people that we lost, probably 50% of them can't even name the 3 branches of government. Why the do you think a pardon for Hunter Biden is going to matter?
You're making my argument for me.
Really close. Everything matters. It's reasonable to look at everything from a political perspective.
No.
When we're in politics.
Hold on. No. Quibbles is so perfect here. Okay. So you're saying, let's say that you have, I don't know, like the LA Lakers from the 90s or thousands, or you have the Pats from the 2000s, right? You have a perfect team and you can do the stupidest shit and win, right? Like in this analogy, this is the Republicans, right? Versus you, you're a part of the Democrat Party, which is not one party. It's a coalition of like 18 different interests who all backstab each other all the goddamn time. You have to play a perfect game in order to win every single time. And what Quibbles and I are saying is you are giving away an advantage that is unnecessary to the game, which is you're saying, yeah, we did something up, but it's actually based, It's actually cool when we, sweep for our bullshit because fuck them. The other team, they give up the game all the time. They make all sorts of mistakes. Well, guess what? This isn't a game where like fairness has anything to do with victory. Like victory depends upon you building an intelligent coalition of exactly harmonized groups. It's part of the reason why I feel bad for you motherfuckers all the goddamn time is because if you take a stance on one issue, you step on the dick of another issue. Being a Democrat is hard as
Okay, can we come at this from a slightly different angle here? Like, let's consider the fact that Donald Trump is assembling a cabinet that are very openly telegraphing their intentions of going after political enemies, including Hunter Biden. So the guy that he nominated to be the FBI director, Kash Patel, he talks about a list of people in the media, in government, in the private sector, that he is going to systematically target with the FBI should he be confirmed. Is there not an argument to make that Joe Biden, protecting his son from that explicit political intention to go after enemies, is valid? Like, is that not somewhat of an argument?
As a father, yes, but he's not doing it as a father. He's doing it as a president. This is a public office.
He's a father who is the president who has the power to stop that.
Listen,
hold on. Let me ask this.
Sorry.
This is to Quibbles. Quibbles.
Yeah.
You have a son. You have the power to stop him from having people who have said over and over and over, we're going to come after you and your family, and anything we can do to put them in prison and hurt them, we will do. You have the power to sign a paper. Sure, it'll hurt the country, but you can protect your son from this. You don't do that?
The answer is for a whole host of reasons, partly because I'd like to be a good father. I have no interest in being president of the United States. That's the answer.
Well, but just
The answer
entertain
is
the
if you're
hypothetical.
willing
Wait,
to
no,
be
just
president of the United States-
just entertain the hypothetical, though. It's a
Yeah, the
hypothetical.
answer is if you're willing to be president of the United States, you have to take an oath.
You have to
and
be
part of
willing
the
to
oath
sacrifice
is
your
understanding that the presidency and the United States comes
Sacrifice
first.
people, son.
That's part of what you have to sacrifice to be president, obviously.
So hold on, Hutch. This is the strongest argument. However, within there is like a conceit. And that conceit is effectively the republic is dead. That you can't trust prosecutors, you can't trust public defenders, you can't trust the courts, you can't trust the judges, because as soon as you have Kash Patel, the head executive of this of the DOJ, everything falls apart.
No, it's
and so
not.
While
No, it's not.
okay, hold on. real
But
quick.
that's not what I said.
I'm
though.
okay with your argument. I agree with your argument. As a father, 100%. I'm pardoning my son 100% of the times. However, what I'm saying is you basically just told me that Joe Biden does not believe the court systems will be fair to his son.
No, that's not what I said.
That's what you just said.
No, that's not what I said. The
That's what
courts.
you just said.
No, I didn't.
Kash
The,
Patel-
That's what you just
wait,
said.
no. The Kash Patel
That
does
is
not.
what
What you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Kash Patel does not control the judiciary, for example. He has no control whether or not a jury is going to find Hunter Biden guilty of whatever charges Kash Patel is fantasizing about bringing. But he's not even talking about specific crimes. Kash Patel is just up there saying, these people with Donald Trump, and so I'm going to send the DOJ after them. You can do plenty of damage to someone without securing a conviction. You can bog them down in a legal process that can stretch out for
The
years.
Clinton treatment. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
And I just, it's a real quick thing. Hold on. Also, it's a real quick thing. Okay, because I forgot when you talk to conservatives, you have to like spell every single thing out. When people
You're not talking to
say,
conservatives.
when people say trust the institutions or trust the systems, okay, I guess we have to say more words, all right, because there are no maxims of language or whatever. We say trust the systems and trust the institutions as long as there's not obvious overt corruption or pressure to get these people to act in different ways, obviously, okay? If it came out that there was a jury trial and every single jury member had been given $1 million and the judge had been given $1 million and the defense and the prosecutor had been given $1 million by one person with an outcome, and we go, wow, that's pretty corrupt. You can't turn around and go, oh, I'm not using me to trust the institutions. It looks like you lied. Okay. The issue
Is that the
with
case right
how
now?
Trump is, yes, that is the case right now.
You're
Because what
gonna need to
Donald
back
Trump is
that up
trying
in a
to do,
second. I'll let you finish.
yeah,
but
sure
you're gonna
thing.
need to back
I
that
will.
up.
I'll back it up right the now. Okay. What Donald Trump is trying to do is he's trying to put heads in these departments that have already said outwardly that they would engage in behavior that is antithetical to the executive branch, antithetical to the department or office they hold, and antithetical to the U.S. Constitution. For instance, when Kash Patel talks about how he will go after people politically, people in the media. Okay. And the issue is now you'll say things like, okay, well, that's just one guy. And you know what, Connor? You're right. That is just one guy. Okay. But the issue is that Donald Trump is also pushing for things like Schedule F that would allow them to massively restock and reshape the bureaucratic underbodies of these institutions with people that would only and exclusively take orders because of an allegiance to the president of the United States. The issue isn't just one man destroying the whole system, because generally that doesn't work. The issue is that they are taking a comprehensive top-down approach to recreate these institutions in a way that would allow them to do exactly these things.
Yes.
Okay. So is the Republic
Should we
dead?
therefore
It's threatened by Donald Trump. Does
The
anybody
Republic
disagree?
will be dead if the Republic will be dead if Democrats are saluting themselves and talking about how good they are at holding themselves accountable, while Republicans are literally f***ing the country in the ass. Yes.
should we pardon every single person that the Republicans might potentially go after?
If it's a political
Preemptively?
prosecution and you've got good reason to feel it, then sure, fuck it. That'd be
So I'm
fucking
asking,
hilarious,
should we pardon preemptively?
Every trans prisoner
Every
right
single
now.
person.
Every trans,
Not just
every
every-
black,
not just every
every
trans
gay,
person.
every
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All-
You actually, by saying that,
potential Democrats.
you lowered my opinion so much of Biden, because you know what Biden should have done? He should have given a blanket pardon to Hillary Clinton as well, just because that would be hilarious. I can't believe he didn't do that. That would have been so based.
Okay.
Okay, so I assume that's a joke, right? You don't actually want that. So I'm curious what the difference is.
Hunter Biden was the target of a political prosecution for half a decade. And this is what they managed to get him on at the end, okay? Joe Biden feels like it was political. The president has the power to pardon people. And in this case, he exercised his pardon power. I don't think there's anything comparable to any of the pardons that Trump has done or what you're asking for, pardoning every hypothetical person that could be convicted of a crime.
I just don't think it's like me personally. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to spend a lot of time getting tripped up about pardons. Like when Donald Trump did his pardons, I looked at it and I rolled my eyes. I was like, well, this is bullshit. But it's laid out in our Constitution that the president gets. Wait, no, that's literally what I did. What I did at the time. And I'm not going to sit here and say we need to do something about this because it's just so clearly defined that the president has these broad powers to do that. There's just nothing you can do about it. Like,
yeah,
there's
but like this is a substantively different. Hold on, let me make this point because I think that we can't ignore the fact that this isn't just a normal pardon, right? That this is a pardon not just for the crime, but for a period, for a decade of time. This, at least the only other one that I'm aware of that is similar was Ford pardoning Nixon, right, for a period of time. So this isn't like normal for a pardon, and I think that it's at least a salient thing for people to have questions and maybe ask why, perhaps. Like,
why do we think that? Why do we think there's a larger pardon? Why do we think?
Well, I know why I think, because again, jackals have said that they're going to come after my family for anything they can possibly find. So yeah, if I'm a dad, I'm throwing a monkey wrench in that work every single
it's
fucking
probably
time.
if you think the Republicans are going to sit there and go on a fishing expedition, which by the way they accuse Democrats of doing, which I wish they would. They should. Okay, we should go fishing, but which Republicans have done. They did it with Ken Starr for Bill Clinton. They've done it for Hunter Biden now with all this. They did it with Hillary Clinton, with the FBI and the fucking DOJ. So I mean, like, the Republicans do this over and over and over and over again, where they fish and they fish and they fish. Okay, and you guys are doing these things where it's like, well, we just have to be better than them. We have to be better than them. What did that get Hillary Clinton? What did it get Hillary Clinton to cooperate with the FBI on the whole thing? What did it get Hillary Clinton to do the Benghazi hearings for 12 hours?
The popular
Donald
vote
Trump
and
has.
election
Donald
barely?
Trump. If you do an analysis of every word that he's spoken, Donald Trump has said the Fifth Amendment. I plead the Fifth more than any other human being in existence. Okay, and you're going to tell me that what did Hillary Clinton gain for that? What do people
You're
view
asking what
favorably?
Hillary Clinton gained for that, but there's a direct answer. The answer is that she almost won that election. It was an incredibly close election.
That's cold comfort, friend.
Dev, do you want to play too?
It's cold comfort.
Yes,
We
because it's
live in an electoral system.
It's a consequence. She almost won an election.
Dev's trying to talk. Dev's trying to talk. Dev is finally trying to talk.
Really close to stopping the launch.
Dev is really close to trying to talk.
I might as well hop in a little bit. I am kind of here. So
yes, you're not just that candy. Go ahead.
So like I said at the start, Connor, I'm sympathetic to your position, right? Because I get it. You know, Biden's pardon is unraveling the institutional fabric because it's violating norms. And I generally agree with you, but I want you to understand that things are already unraveling, okay? We're already at that point. We now live in a different paradigm. You must do what they are doing to you, and you have to do it to them repeatedly until they lose the taste for it. And I know that you understand this because you would say it about Russia and Ukraine. You would say it about other forms of lawfare. This is now what you have to do. We're at this point now. It sucks, but here we are.
No, so
you just described a war.
I'm leaving this at all.
They're declaring war. Yes, that's already happened. When one side declares war, you're in a war.
Hey.
Yeah, you don't get to decide.
Okay.
I don't want to be.
Also,
I
if we're
actually
at
don't consent
war,
to that.
if you actually believe we're at war, then pardon everyone, right? That's what it looks like to be at war.
Who else would we even pardon? What do you mean?
If you believe that we're actually at war, if we're actually at the point where there's no getting back from the brink, and that there's no possible way to get back to a system where the structures of our government function, then the solution surely is to grapple with that as the reality.
No,
that we're living in.
there are
very
stages.
different than just pardoning your own son and then calling it a day.
There are stages to the fighting, of course. Just because you're at war with somebody doesn't mean you start genociding them, right? Or doesn't mean you nuke them immediately, right? Obviously, there are stages. One of the issues right now is that the Republicans can operate with impunity, and they have for decades in all of these realms. Whether it's when from Gore, whether it's when Trump accused the election of being stolen multiple times, whether it's losing the Supreme Court pick. Yeah, yes, all of these things, okay, the Republicans have done with impunity. And why wouldn't they? And you know what the immoral action is? It is immoral when you don't enforce consequences on the other side, because what you're saying is you should do the behavior over and over again. Because you know what? Republicans should do this. Republicans should go after Hunter, and they should go after Joe, and they should abuse the DOJ, and they should do Schedule F, because there's no reason not to. Why wouldn't you? If all we're going to do is sit here and chastise ourselves for ever doing anything, why the wouldn't you take advantage of us if you're a Republican? We're asking for it.
Yeah, I think this is
are our skirts too short?
Okay.
Are we
Did
wearing,
you believe?
Did you
I
say
a little bit of a
Democrats were wearing? Okay, fair enough. Go ahead. Tuna Chip, go ahead.
Are you in a nursery?
Me?
Him. A children's school? What is that in the background there? Or is that your kids' room? Never mind. I apologize.
We won't dig too deep
Tuna,
into
go
it.
ahead.
Okay. People keep saying as a father, or like if you were in his position, wouldn't you do this too? And I can see conceding to that, and I can see that making sense. At the same time, I'm not Biden. I'm a person seeing what Biden is doing. I'm talking to what people should do who aren't Biden. It's what do we do now? And you want to learn something from the right wing? You want to learn something from the corrupt right? Learn to disavow. Learn to play from a losing position. You can say something and do something else, but why are we all sitting around acting as if we're gonna just, you know what? Let's go mask off. Being mask off is the right way to win. That's not why Trump has won. It's not why they were able to build the base that made it so that Trump could have that power. That is through the covert method. So it doesn't even play into its own narrative.
What did the Republicans disavowed from Trump?
What do you mean disavowed from
January
Trump?
6th.
I'm not
You
talking
said
about
you
the
should learn-
Republicans. I'm talking about the foundations that got
I'm asking
to
you
Trump.
Said, yeah, you're saying that one of the things we have to learn to do is disavow. So I'm asking, what did the Republicans disavow from Trump?
January 6th for 2 weeks.
Stop.
Oh, so
Come
January
on,
6th,
stop.
when they refused to convict him in the Senate, and when they dismissed all of his federal charges, and when they gave him criminal immunity, absolute criminal immunity for half the shit that he did.
And when his voters
Any other
reelected him.
examples?
Say one thing, do something else. Why are you deciding to say the second thing and do the second thing?
They're not saying one thing. Donald Trump doesn't say I'm innocent. Donald Trump says I'm the king and I can't commit crimes. Notice how it's strangely absent that Donald Trump is not out there defending himself like loser Democrats do. When we go, well, I don't think that Joe Biden did anything wrong when he did, and I don't think Hillary Clinton did. When Donald Trump when he's actually accused of a crime, Donald Trump goes out and he says, I can't commit crimes. I'm the president of the United States. How is that a disavowal?
That's not what we're talking about. That's not a disavowal of himself. The closest that Trump's done to a disavowal is not of himself. It's the bad people on both sides kind of thing. But you have to play into the rhetoric. And more importantly, Trump is able to talk like that because he's in a winning position. If we were in a winning position, we had the culture war, if we had the political offices already won, it would make sense to be braggadocious and slam heavy hammers down.
But
we don't have that. We have to
hold on.
He did the same thing when he lost.
I don't like to be a history guy. I don't like to be a history guy because I know we don't do history a lot, okay? And I know it sucks to do it. But if we go all the way back, okay, we think all the way back to the year 2020, Trump lost. And if we go all the way back to the year 2022, Trump candidates lost. So he was a loser in the election, and then he lost the midterms, and then he lost special
That's our
elections.
point. That's our point.
Hold on.
They didn't change the rhetoric ever, and then they came back and they won 4 years
You asked
later.
what we want. You
Very
asked
well.
earlier. Hold on. You asked earlier in the conversation what we got right from acting better than the Republicans. He lost in 2018. He lost in 2020. He lost in 2022. We've only lost in 2020. That would be.
I think it was probably
gained.
it was probably because of COVID because he fucked that up in
Wait,
such an unbelievably.
Wait, this wasn't because of COVID?
This was honestly most of this was actually probably because of inflation. Yeah, no, it probably was. That's the real boring answer. But
Okay, so therefore, if we lost,
we shouldn't be talking about
1.5
pardoning Hunter Biden. We should be focusing on the best
This is
Trump
okay.
does.
You just granted that we were in an uphill battle for this particular election, and we still, not just in terms of Joe Biden was basically dead, not just in terms of we didn't have a primary, but also in terms of inflation, also in terms of worldwide, all incumbents did terribly. Worldwide, in that context, we still only lost by 1.5. And you're talking about throwing out the entire system that we've been using in order to get to win the elections
How is
in
it
the last
pardoning his son?
2020 and
How is it
2022.
pardoning his son throwing out the entire system?
Okay.
Here, hold on. Quibbles, just to
Pardoning
point
his
out.
son throws away the
Dev,
narrative. It gives
Dev,
into the
Dev has to
narrative.
go.
Throwing away
Dev
the
gets to
system.
go. I like Dev. Dev, go ahead.
Thank you. Quibbles, you have to understand, they're not loyal to the system, okay? They're not loyal to the norms. They use them when it serves them, as in the Trumpsters, okay? Right? They're not loyal to the system, okay? So you can't really appeal to it in that way. I'm sure you've heard the populist right talk about, the uniparty, the uniparty, all this. In the parliamentary system, we call it the loyal opposition because the other party is not traitors to the country. They just have different agreements on different views on policy, right? Mm-hmm. The uniparty is just the Constitution. It's just the United States. And then they're out here saying we hate the uniparty because they're traitors. All right. So you can't appeal to norms and to systems and to rules when they simply want to use them against you as a weapon when they're in power, and then beg you for their protection when they're not in power.
Yes.
So this is why
there's a portion here, and I've been
earlier.
very nice, so I want to interject. Okay, so Deb, I get you. However, there's 33% splits in the country. Okay, 33% of people lean left, 33% of people lean right, and 33% of people are politically inactive. Okay, the decisions are typically made by moderates. All right, people often run very far left during the primaries, and they run center during the generals. Same thing for the right wing, right? So the point is that, like, you might not be able to appeal to norms in order to win MAGA to be Democrats. I agree with you. However, there are people such as myself, we might be a small percentage of the population, but we do exist, who the reason why we're Republican is because we believe in a republic, right? The reason why we're quote unquote conservative is because we believe in, like, the philosophical treatises of Burke, right? Or like the concepts of fiscal conservatism or the concepts of social conservatism, right? So it's not like, appealing to these ideas is actually exactly how you get, like, somebody like me. And that's part of the reason why I was willing to do apologia for the Kamala Harris campaign, was because she was effectively saying, please God, people like Connor, vote for me. That's what she said for, like, the last 60 days of the election. And Hutch, here's the thing. You've brought this up multiple times that we're wasting energy on this conversation. No, this is the exact time to have this conversation, because 2 years down the line, when it's midterms or whatever, we're not going to be able to have nuanced conversations about philosophy and ideology and virtue versus pragmatism, because we're going to have to shut the up in order to win.
To that point.
So now is the time to talk about principle.
Okay, to that point, how many of you guys seriously on this panel seriously think that the Hunter Biden pardon is going to be a salient issue in the 2026 midterms or the 2028 general?
Hutch, it will not.
I think it will be.
However,
because Connor's going to be talking about it.
It actually might be. Yeah. It actually might be.
It's going to be because people like these, because these kinds, because what's going to happen is Donald Trump is going to tell 10 of his closest friends to go and murder 1,000 million Democrats, and they're going to go out and they're going to genocide half the Democratic population of this country. And then when Trump pardons them, a whole bunch of Democrats on MSNBC and CNN are going to come up and be like, okay, but remember Hunter Biden, guys? And then all of us going to be like, oh, the moral high ground, there it goes. Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't agree that this is going to be a salient issue. I don't know where you guys are getting this logic, bro.
God damn it. I want to answer your question and not let his mean answer be the last thing heard, okay?
Okay, sure.
So the real answer is Hunter Biden is not even going to be a blip on the radar in 2 years, right? It's going to be something that people bring up in passing.
Yes.
However, the vibe, I think we're in the era of vibes-based politics, the vibe that Democrats are willing to sweep for and apologize for public corruption, as long as it's smaller than the other side, that is still going to be relevant in 2022.
In 6 months, the conversations that we're going to be having, in 6 months, the conversations that we're going to be having is going to be about the insane second Trump administration. That's what's going to be driving all the headlines, the news stories, the YouTube videos, the content, blah, blah, blah. It's the whole conversation is going to be about him. He's going to pardon the out of people as well. So this idea that it's going to be salient, or you guys keep like presenting this case that you think there's going to be a political price to pay. Who gives a fuck? We just lost a trifecta. We just lost a trifecta. This is the time, like, for something like this to happen. It's going to happen now. No one's going to be talking about this 6 months from now. I just don't. You guys are appealing to the kind of voter that I don't think exists. I don't think you're going to find a voter. I don't think you're going to. Hold on. I'm almost done. You guys are appealing to a voter that apparently in 2026 is going to endure the next 2 years of Donald Trump, and then is going to go to the ballot box and be like, you know what? I really don't like all the stuff that's going on, but that Hunter Biden pardon, I don't know. Like, I just don't think these people are real. I don't think they exist.
Scenario for you. Here's a worst case scenario for you. I'm going to compare Trump to Hitler, right? Hitler did a whole bunch of great things for the economy, right? He deregulated a bunch of shit. He brought industrial back to Germany. They were writing articles about him. They were writing articles about him in Times Magazine saying that he's the leader of the decade and all that kind of shit. And so as a result, he was popular with his own country. So how about 2 years from now, where not only did you compromise your principles, not only did you say that you're willing to sweep for corruption, but you get graped at the polls because the economy's doing well. How are you going to feel then when not only did you sell out your principles,
it's possible
also you still get annihilated?
That's possible. I acknowledge that that's a possibility. I'm bracing myself for the possibility that the American public broadly supports mass deportations, et cetera, et cetera. But when we look back to the first Trump administration, we can kind of like use that as a possible measure of what we can expect in the second administration. In 2018, the economy was doing great, and Republicans got stomped out in the House because of Donald Trump. So it's
Right.
because of his attacks on healthcare. And so I don't think
aren't you even in a more dangerous position that the economy is kind of recovering, but it's a little anemic, and then God forbid there's a whole bunch of tax cuts and shit, and then all the corporations are like, time to make money, and then they take the they take the training wheels off, and then the economy takes off. Then
no, the economy's healed now. Didn't you hear? Because Donald Trump got elected. The economy's better. We just had like one of the largest Black Friday sales in history. We just had one of the largest Black Friday sales in history, even though everybody was saying that we were all broke. So I guess maybe Donald Trump getting elected fixed it.
That's the Donald Trump bump.
So,
That's the Donald Trump bump. That's the Trump bump.
Okay.
I agree.
I just have a hard time like digesting this idea that like, again, like what you're saying is right. It's possible that he could be like popular in a couple of years. I don't know. But like when you look at his first term, he was completely incompetent. He was wildly corrupt. Every single day was a scandal. And the cabinet that he's assembling currently is a show. It is not. It is so much more unhinged than the first term.
Sure,
so I feel like it's reasonable for me to expect that this is going to be another scandal plagued administration. We're probably going to see a repeat of the first Trump administration on
straight up, because Hutch, and I'll ask you this, and Destiny said things like this. Dev said things like this. I'm curious all your opinions here, right? Why do you think it is that Republicans can just say whatever, do whatever, and according to you, don't get electorally punished for it? We can. I'll grant you, at least for the sake of argument, that that's true. My question would be why? What's the difference?
I think right now, in the last like 15 years, we've seen this rise of populism and demagoguery. And I think that the reason why the Republicans have fared like decently well in this era is because they give these like really simple explanations for really complex problems, and they give people a villain to point to. It's just classic demagoguery. I mean, this issue is so complex, and it would take hours to unpack.
Fascists and enemies of the country, do you think that makes us a good enemy or a bad enemy?
Wait, hold on, say that again.
So when Republicans can look at us, right, can point to the left and say the left hates you, they want you to die, they don't think you're American, they want to deport you, they want to put you in camps, and they play all these clips, these thousands of clips of thousands of hours of leftists, Democrats, all basically saying that Republicans are stupid and lesser than. Do you think that helps or hurts Republicans when they play the populist card and say these other people, yeah, sure, we're corrupt and stuff, but these people hate you, so fuck them.
I mean,
let's be spiteful and let's stick it to the man.
I mean, this cuts. I feel like this cuts both ways.
Tell us why? Yeah, okay, yeah. Why is it that they do strategies, and then if we do anything even remotely resembling that, and they're winning with their strategies, then why is it that you say, well, don't you think we should change?
Wait, because we win when we go higher, such as 2020, 2018, 2022, right? At least in the recent politics, during the Trump years. Like, we can talk about pre-Trump years, fair enough, but during the Trump years, 2014-ish and on, I think
here's the issue. No, you guys are looking at an NBA team against like against a team of geriatrics, and the geriatrics like barely win, and you're like, oh look, yeah, this is like a good, the geriatrics need to keep working hard, and that's good. You think
the geriatrics? You think pushing cripple out of the chair is the win though?
Hold on, go ahead.
Stop. Okay. When you guys are citing things like movies, or when you're talking about like good people winning and principles and all of this, okay, these things they have to happen this way because it's fiction, okay? The ending is already determined by the author when he begins to write. History,
was
future.
The 2020 election.
Stop, let me finish, please. The future is not inevitable. It's not set in stone. And you have this naive form of thinking that because it is the fact that Batman doesn't kill anybody and all the criminals just happen to either kill themselves or get locked in Arkham Asylum forever, that we can conduct ourselves and hold ourselves to that standard and it's going to turn out good. If you look at the past 25 years of elections, you're saying something. You're saying this. This is what you're saying, okay? You're saying that, well, look, when we go high, we're winning. And your evidence of that is that Democrats and Republicans are holding office about...
It's elections. That's my evidence. Yes.
Let me finish.
Not comic book.
Please,
not movies.
Dude, Connor's ranted so much. Let me just finish the one thing. Jesus. Okay. We are looking at 50-50 elections where Bush gave us the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Okay. $1 trillion. Okay. You're looking at elections where Obama came in after the world economy was destroyed by the housing crisis. Okay. And then we got a Democrat for 2 terms. You're looking at a world where Donald Trump denied that COVID even existed and left the entire country in disarray, okay, when Biden came in and won office. You're looking at two parties that do not conduct themselves even remotely close to the same standard. You're looking at parties that are, where Donald Trump had to have the Constitution of the United States change so that he could even run for office again, okay, where we lost a Supreme Court pick, okay, where we had a president that was denied his rightful recount in Florida because of corruption on the Republican side. And you look at these results and you go 50-50, oh, we're doing okay. That's insane. If there was any normativeness, if there was any fairness in our system, the Republican Party would either not exist right now or it would be in a severely different state that would be better for all of us.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
If you're gonna bend into this,
go in the order.
you're gonna bend into this new world where it's mass politic. You have to acknowledge that historically, unprecedentedly, mass politic is right wing. So at a certain point, maybe what the Democrat Party has to do is start packing Mexicans into boxes.
Democratic Party.
If you're trying to win, on mass politics, you're going to become more fascistic. And if that means having like a stronger go after your political opponent's strategy, I don't think it ends there. It has to end principally with becoming a hardcore populist, which is the thing that we're trying to get away from. It's the thing that is to just go into that world when that's the whole reason that the Democratic Party exists at all, as far as I'm concerned, is to try and hold back this behemoth that wants to drag us into a sort of second world style politic where you can just communist murder people. The only thing stopping that is not being that and offering the populace an alternative to just doing political killings or political witch hunts.
You're drawing this line.
Just deciding that the rules don't
you're drawing this line
because we're scared.
This is a really weird line that you're drawing from Biden pardoning his son to let's throw people into camps. Like you're doing like a slippery slope thing to the 10th degree here.
No, what I'm saying is that when you start ignoring the fundamental principles of a democracy, you don't stop at just getting rid of one. You kick one leg of the chair, the whole thing falls over.
But again,
you're not going to have people.
Political pardons have been a thing. Politically driven pardons have been a thing for decades and decades. He's not exactly breaking with precedent. You can argue about the specifics of the pardon, how it went a little bit more blanket than the other ones. But again, this is not we're not treading new ground here. If we're going to have the conversation should be about should the president have this power? But they do have the power and they use it. And so this is not something that I feel like is going to be, like I said, a salient issue 2 years from now. It is going to come up if Trump tries to do a self-pardon. This is going to be the thing. They're going to say 11 years of his own flesh and blood taken off the record. That's going to be the defense. That's the rhetorical. He can try to do that. That will be challenged in the courts.
Trump already has a self-pardon. What the? All of his shit has been dismissed. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. We're just bending to the precedent.
About that. No one cares about that. His federal cases are gone. Those are gone. No one cares. You acknowledge that? No one gives a. The J6 case is gone, meaning the Georgia case is probably going to be gone. The New York sentencing is basically gone, and the Mar-a-Lago case is gone. Those are all gone. They were
suspended without prejudice, but sure.
They're gone.
They might as well be
just bend in, go into the new political avenue, the new world, the one where Democrats can't win unless they don't abide by their own principles, the own forms of government that they want.
You're making
That's just losing.
You're making this point that him pardoning Hunter will give Trump license to do unethical pardons, which is ridiculous because again, he did over 100.
No, this is second order effect. I'm not making that argument, and that it can sound like that. I'm saying second order effect, which is that when you have voters that are not turning out because they think both parties are corrupt, because they don't think their vote will matter, because they think the entire thing is just a black box, you're only further disenfranchising them by saying, actually, Biden can do this and no one should say anything. We should not say anything.
Yes, the voters
Biden's already done it. The decision is whether or not you push back at all. Even rhetorically, just say, you know what? I think Biden might have done something bad here.
That's such a funny mistake to say. The voters don't think the system is broken because the system is broken. The voters don't even know how the system works. The voters think the system is broken because we're talking about this now and because the Republicans constantly say that it's broken. That's it.
Okay.
They are being fed that by more than just Republicans, by the way.
That's part of the problem.
We have to decide.
They're being fed it also by the actions that play into those narratives.
No, they're not. No, absolutely not. We have never been more divorced from action ever in the history of the United
Rhetoric is
States.
disconnected
We are
from
right now.
reality. What is this new argument? And by the way, I might have come on hard for the first 30 minutes, but I'm pretty sure for the last 40, I've been pretty much quiet with my hand up. Y'all can relax with Connor's.
Why don't you calm down, Connor? Chill.
So, hold on. So you guys are losing by 1%. And by the way, this is my diagnosis, okay? 4 years ago, and this isn't going to sit well with the progressives, I'm just going to say it, progressives went too goddamn far, okay? Sweep in for the riots, mostly peaceful but fiery protests, all that bullshit, that turned off a lot of
Republicans can get away with that rhetoric, okay? Don't be crazy, okay? The only Republicans can say that shit.
Well, you're paying a consequence for the insanity of 2020, the summer of love, okay? Chaz, chop, all that bullshit. You can call it propaganda if you want, but at the same time,
isn't it crazy how Democrats are responsible for that when Trump was president? Isn't that insane that Donald Trump was the president? That was our fault
right
somehow.
here. He was the motherfucker that freaked out and basically said, like, at this point, right-wing dip militias should do what they need to do in order to restore peace to the streets. So don't act like this isn't a problem.
Please don't get me banned.
I'm not acting like it's a problem, but I also think the Black Panthers should have been in D.C., okay, on the steps of the Capitol building.
Okay, base. I don't give a f. I like guns. So anyway, the point is
Please don't get me banned.
that the adjustment back center towards sanity was way too late. Okay, and so when Kamala has 2 months in order to rewrite her entire platform, and all that's happening is they're playing clips of her primary from 2019 over and over and over and over and over again, it's not possible to overcome it. And by the way, it's this much. If you had a sane, stable, rhetorically responsible candidate, you could have won. But you're saying be more unhinged. Why the f?
This is not an argument to be won in the public. People are stupid. That's the whole reason our government is set up the way that it is because we don't trust the public to just all of a sudden come to these great conclusions as long as the narratives and the rhetoric are good enough. You need the institutions to keep everything in check. That's the whole reason why we created the government. And all the founding fathers talk over and over again about how stupid factionism is, how stupid the whims and the desires of groups of men are, and that the groups of people are completely unhinged compared to individuals. You have to have the government and these structures and institutions. So if you have one side undermining the institutions, you can't appeal to the public in order to win because the people undermining institutions are doing those to appeal to the public. You can't win that way.
We have 17 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and shut up again, but I'm going to say not a single thing that Destiny said changes anything I said, and if anything, I agree with it, hook, line, and sinker.
Can you calm down?
Go ahead.
Can you calm down, Connor?
I do have a question for you, Counterpoints. So just real quick. So you did say correctly that there's an adjustment towards the sane center that needs to happen, right? Well, the Trumpsters aren't doing it. So what do you do now? Like how do you make it happen?
Okay, what I was praying for was that in this election, because it seemed like Biden was moving, had always been center, let's be real, but he was a little progressive on some, and then Kamala was adjusting center. I was hoping that it was going to be enough to squeak by with a victory, give MAGA a bloody nose, and make them realize that they couldn't win electoral politics anymore.
That didn't
However,
happen.
that's not what happened. So what needs to happen, I would say, going forward,
Biden's not
4 years from now, is if, let's say that Trump is a disaster. Let's say that his cabinet picks are horrible. Let's say that he guts the executive branch and there's disorder and anarchy everywhere. Let's say that we have videos of families being deported and they're crying tears as their neighbors are being dragged away in handcuffs and shit. Then what needs to happen is a capitalization by the center to build a new coalition that basically goes against the hard left if the hard left is going too far and goes against the hard right if the hard right is going too far. And that needs to be the new norm.
Okay. I just want to zoom out for a second. Earlier, both Destiny and Hutch, and I believe SFO as well, you all compared our current situation, in the case of SFO, literally to the situation in Ukraine, right? Literally to war. In that context, there are two solutions of how to move forward. One is that it is a war, and we're going to just accept that it's war, and therefore let's pardon everyone, and therefore let's do whatever the we need to do in order to just engage head on and do total war against the Republicans. That's one option. The other option is to be starting to work actively to try to mutually get to a place where we reinstate those norms. Reinstating those norms means that this is not the kind of conversation that we want to be having. Instead, what we want to be doing is we want to have conversations about mutually agreeable, at least in terms of the public, ideas of how to get rid of corruption, right? We want to be able to have those conversations in the Senate. We want to have them in the Congress. We want to be able to push forward things like, hey, maybe there shouldn't be insider trading in Congress. Hey, maybe there shouldn't be all of these kinds of things that are agreed to across the aisle. And that kind of building out in that sense is how you can manage to get at the very least public, and hopefully eventually through the public, members of Congress, Republicans, albeit perhaps not Trump specifically, but other Republicans, to get back to normalcy. That is the only
Republicans
other
support
option.
stuff like that. When do Republicans support stuff? What do they support it like that?
Should I list some? Sure.
Dan
sure.
Crenshaw. So
There's
sorry, real quick.
already
This is
bipartisan.
something.
I can list one. Wait, you just asked me a question. I can list one.
The strongest example, not 50 random people, just the strongest example.
Okay, awesome. The Presidential Ethics Reform Bill, which is by Representatives James Comer and Katie Porter, which demands tax returns of the president and vice president. Let's do that.
Wait, let him do, don't hold on. Okay, wait, did this have support, broad bipartisan support?
Broad bipartisan, you asked for whether it has bipartisan. It does have bipartisan.
Because I asked you for a thing that was from, I'm not asking for a...
Hold on, let's get on the same page here. Destiny, can you repeat what you're asking so he understands?
Yes, you're saying something about both parties coming back to the norms, okay? Yes. So not just like one piece of legislation that like two people have signed onto in Congress. What's an example of like a broad thing that Republicans support that would move us towards better norms?
Do you want a list or do you want the one?
You want your strongest one.
Strongest thing. The way you just gave was harsh because it sounds like it has no support in the Senate or the House. One strong thing that Republicans broadly support.
I'm saying that the way that we move forward is by trying to build out this kind of rhetoric and this kind of conversation.
He's asking you for an example.
Around that. So if you're asking for
Pelosi was in the House, when Pelosi was in the House, she passed more legislation than any House.
Legislation, I agree with you that the currently existing legislation is overwhelmingly supported by Democrats and is not supported by Republicans, at least members of the elected class. But in terms of the general public, I think there are a lot of things that the general public of conservatives do actually at least want in terms of the voting public, rather than in terms of people who are in Congress, who are actually in the cabinet or whatever, right?
Okay, wait, one more question. Then one question. What is your red line?
Before we go forward, do you agree that the majority of the public would like, for example, for there not to be insider trading within Congress?
Because conservatives are amoral and they have no values. No, of course not. Am I ever going to... I'm not even going to listen. I'm not even going to listen to a Republican dick suck, okay, who's going to sit here and tell me...
You're talking about members of the media.
When Elon... No, I'm talking about a rank and file line voter shows up and votes his little maggot voter card, okay? That a guy who is okay with Elon Musk enriching himself in a single day more than probably the net worth of every member of Congress and all of U.S. history is going to sit here and talk to me about insider trading. I would rather myself, okay, in a video game. So, no.
You don't think that there are any Republicans who believe that insider trading is bad? That's the real answer.
No. As a principle, no.
If you believe that, then we're at the point where we should be pardoning everyone. If you actually believe that,
so my question.
accordingly.
So this is my question. Then you can. Okay. So my question is, what is your red line for the Republicans? What's a step too far, or is it always? Are they outside the door, like pounding with their AR-15s, okay, and their tactical scopes? They probably have the cover open, okay. These guys, okay. And you're like, well, hold on, wait.
You just said red line.
Them. Yeah. What's your red line?
Hold on. You just said red line. Can you define what you mean by red line? Red line meaning
like,
what?
As in when somebody's like, okay, well, holy, this is a step way too far. Now we need to like.
No. I'm asking, what will you do? I'm asking, what will you do when they pass the red line?
I don't know, things like court packing or filibustering or pardoning people that we think are being.
Have they crossed the red line for you?
I'm asking you what? Yes, like 3 times.
I'm asking you. Have they crossed the red line?
He said yes.
Okay, so then you should be in support.
Stop telling me what I should be in support. I have no idea what the.
So when earlier I asked you,
what is the red line?
Earlier I asked Stephen, when earlier I asked you, I will answer the question, but I just want to clarify before I answer it. When earlier I asked you whether or not you want a blanket pardon for all major Democrats, your response should have been yes.
No, because you keep doing this thing where you're saying it's
you just said they crossed the red line.
Crossing a red line doesn't mean you nuke somebody. You hard. What are you talking about?
Quibbles. He did ask a question.
If you break into my house,
when you say
shot. I live in Florida. I got 20 guns behind me. I'm ready to kill somebody, okay? But
Okay, so
that doesn't
you're
mean I'm
saying
gonna go and
red
kill their
line,
entire
so
family,
then there's
and you're like, wait,
multiple
you said they
types
crossed the
of
red
lines.
line? You're not gonna go and destroy their entire bloodline? What are you
Cool.
talking about?
Quibbles,
Okay, cool. So there's multiple-
stop,
okay.
Quibbles, stop, because I want you to answer the question he asked, because I am curious. He asked
go for it.
you, where is your point where you start to get the guns out and you do what?
Yeah, the answer is that I have multiple lines.
Name one.
There's one that's an actual. I'm trying to. There's one that's an actual red line where I am ready to involve myself in like revolutionary activities and start
What is
buying up guns.
Give it
That's
to
a line. That line would be like if they literally stole an election, I would start picking up guns. If they literally like did the kinds of that they've accused us of. If they were actually correct about the 2020 election, absolutely, they would have been right to start, doing whatever the they need to do in order to get back our country. Absolutely, in my view, that is very different than the kinds of of hey, they have a bunch of rank and file corruption and all of this kinds of stuff. I would like to ratchet down tensions because I don't
the
actually.
most severe red line you have. They
We're
already tried to
at the
cross.
line where we've already crossed the line, and it's time for a civil war.
Of all your different lines, they've already tried to cross the biggest line.
And a Trump.
Okay, so do you think it's time for a civil
What do you
war?
mean? That was your red line. You said that was your red line. You told
And McConnell and also his vice president and all of the major people in the media, all of them got in line and said, hey, that's not okay, right? That's what they all said immediately following it. Yes, they're still Republicans. Yes, they're still conservative.
They didn't say that. They didn't say that. They didn't say, no, they didn't say that's not okay. They said, that was kind of bad, and like,
Get
don't
the
do it
fuck
again.
out of here.
Kind of bad? Are you kidding me? Did you see
Let me go. Wait, hold on. I want to ask
What are you
one
talking
question.
Let
about?
Dev go. Let Dev go. Dev.
It's the failure of the Senate to convict Donald Trump for January 6th. It's the lack of accountability for any of the crimes committed on January 6th because all the Jack Smith
In the
cases are gonna-
immediate
It's the Supreme Court
aftermath,
ruling of Trump versus
they
United States.
said
We got criminal immunity for
everything that
everything.
they should
It's
have
the Republicans
said.
right now who all said that Donald Trump trying to overthrow the government are now voting for him and supporting him in Congress. What
you're-
are you talking
Quibbles,
about?
why are they walking back?
You're making the case.
Show me three people on January 7th saying this is really bad.
No,
It's not
there's
even
no
defense.
control
It's
if they
not
have
even
to.
defense.
There's no way, Stephen. I'm not gonna let you say that stupid. Number
Oh my
one,
God.
Okay, number one. Not only do you keep saying Republican, conservative instead of MAGA, whereas if you actually pull this shit, it's like 55-45. But then not only that, but you're acting like I don't know, Chris Christie and Mike Pence and Nikki Haley didn't come out in the primary and say Donald Trump. He's a piece of shit who tried to overthrow the Constitution of the United States.
And they got stomped
Go
out.
ahead and play your Giano and
Okay.
And they got stomped out.
What happened to those guys? How far did they get in the election again? Where were they? Where are they at?
matter. You're acting like all
Wait. Are those guys attacking or supporting Donald Trump now? What did Nikki Haley say last about Donald Trump?
Didn't take a fucking risk.
Nikki Haley support Donald Trump? Does she support Donald Trump then, or is she still against Donald Trump?
Steven, this is absurd. You're counting Mike Pence. You're counting Liz Cheney. You're counting all of these people
Who gives a fuck? Who gives a
Why are you citing Republicans who are no longer part of the political process?
Because Stephen, they joined our team.
Who gives a fuck?
Okay,
Joined
this is
our
great.
team.
This is content. This is fun. This is great. But I do want a little productivity because we don't got too much time left. Oh man, God.
Quibbles, you're making the case. You're making the case.
I pause for breath, and you vultures, you piranhas, you January 6ers to this panel trying to overthrow my rule. Okay, let's give it to Dev. He had a question. He's been polite. He's had the least amount of talking time. Let's give it to Dev. Let's get his question. Let's talk about that. I got some super chats to read, and then let's end this show. Go ahead, Dev.
Okay, Quibbles, I just want a clarification here. Okay, so if Mike Pence had adhered to Eastman's scheme, would you have armed up?
If they had succeeded at it, yeah, absolutely.
No, you wouldn't have.
Okay.
I mean, no, I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't have. You would have said they just need 10 more days. They just need 10 more days to find voter fraud. And then when it went to the Supreme Court was like, well, major political question. We don't do this. You said, well, the Supreme Court said it, so it's kind of legal. It's a legal theory, and it's probably not the best. And you'd be making excuses. That's what you're doing.
At the point where civil war is happening. I would be part of the civil war. So would everyone else. It would be a civil war.
It wouldn't be a civil war. We would be at home talking about how, like, well, that was kind of a bad thing Trump did, and we better uphold norms really hardcore to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yes.
What would you do in a situation?
Yes.
Steven, what would you do in a situation?
For the love of God, let me go. Okay, this is bullshit. Okay, Chris Christie during the primaries had people boo him for the first 40 seconds that he was talking about Trump, and by the end of the 2 or 3 minute tangent, he was having them applaud. Having Mike Pence also stand up there and say, Trump, his violation of the Constitution, he's a piece of shit. That took balls.
It didn't
Acting
matter.
like everybody's hook, line, and sinker MAGA is part of your goddamn problem.
It didn't matter. Consequentially,
Wait, yeah, they are.
consequentially,
We
the bulk of the Republican Party fell right back in line with Donald Trump.
Yep.
You can appeal to Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. You can appeal to You can appeal to McCarthy and McConnell giving a stern like talking to on the House and Senate floor. But what did it lead to? It didn't lead to anything. Like they had the perfect opportunity to hold him accountable and make sure that he could never hold public office again. There was like initially some possibility of that happening, and then when they both made the calculation that MAGA wasn't dying, McCarthy made a trip to Mar-a-Lago, made a public appearance with Donald Trump, and McConnell came out against convicting him in the Senate. It was completely toothless. It was inconsequential. It didn't matter.
Let me put this in a way that Counterpoints can understand, okay? As a good conservative person, okay? The problem is that we've let mom deal with this for too long. And dad needs to come in with the belt, because what's happening is the Republicans are doing the same thing over and over again. And mom is saying, you better stop that. Don't do that. Not good. And you know what? We need dad to come in with the belt, and we need to give these motherfuckers ass whipping. Because when you say things like,
dad coming in with the belt,
well, Haley and Christie, we're both like really critical of Donald Trump. That's mom saying, you better not do that, or I'm going to take away your Game Boy. Okay. Who the cares? Chris Christie and Haley, these are irrelevant people. You think these are the new kingmakers of the Republican Party? When you do this, you're marking yourself for deletion, because the entire party, as we said earlier,
hold on. No, this is so real. You guys are now for the next generation. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if Trump had taken a bloody nose and lost, he might have actually taken a hit, and he probably wouldn't have the opportunity to be a kingmaker. Now, because he gets a second term no matter what.
They hailed.
He gets a second term no matter what. Now, because he gets a second term no matter what. Shut the up. He doesn't get a second term no matter what. He gets a second term because the Constitution was changed, because we don't have a Supreme Court, because we lost it under Obama. He's a kingmaker in the Republican Party for the next generation.
Connor,
we have to deal with MAGA no matter what. And your bullshit, it's a losing
Connor, they called the 2000 election the end of progressive politics. Barack Obama won in 2008. They called the 2016 the end of progressive politics in America. He was a one-term president. So this idea that like we're for a generation is a bit specious to me. Like you have no idea what the climate is going to be like 2 years from now or 4 years from now.
You're dealing with MAGA for the next 30 years. That's what I mean.
We were going to be dealing with them no matter what. If Donald Trump lost, MAGA was not going away. It would have taken on. He would have
had the Tea Party before this.
Right,
we had
exactly.
the Freedom Caucus. There's always some party iteration of American voters. Usually they're called Republicans, but they have other more specific names as well. But
bitch, you did a 2-year goddamn jihad against the far left. Don't talk to me about.
The far left are 2% of the Democratic Party.
CNN. Don't act like Republican is a
2%.
I'll do a jihad on you.
The reason why Russia is invading Ukraine uninterrupted. The far left is not the reason why we're looking at repealing DACA, why we're talking about receding from the whole world stage, and why we're just paying for a constitution to re-elect a 34 felon convicted fucking president.
Hold on.
So Destiny. Okay?
The reason why
you were talking about trying to
get lost you the election.
You're trying to talk about the Democrats becoming more populist. Those are the lefties. Those are the people that are going to help you make a populist left. Those tankies, the communists, the people that are, you're going to lose your Democrats, the believers in democracy, the second that you start playing by the same rules as the right. You're going to have to work with the commies. You're going to have to be out there doing your own blue Jan 6 with goddamn hammers and sickles.
Yeah,
that's
what.
Hold
on, I'll say this at the end because we need to, for my brain cells. We need to wrap this up soon. One of the reasons we lost was the far left, and I'll tell you why. Not because Kamala was far left, not because she ran as far left, is because she never told the far left no. I can't find one clip one instance, one soundbite, one interview, one
Kamala
anything.
literally said,
Listen,
wait.
no.
Kamala literally said she didn't support the defund the police. She said that violence needed to stop after the summer of love. She said that she was a proud gun owner, her and Tim Walz. What do you mean? She was constantly
okay,
saying
viral
this.
photo
Hold on.
It doesn't land when you donated to the bail funds like a dumbass.
Yes. That
She
like she said all
donated
that.
one I hate you, God. When the Civil War happens, Connor, I'm coming right up to you. We're gonna be the first two. Okay, they're fucking going at it.
We're
Okay,
gonna roast you and roast this bitch. We're gonna
going at it,
stand in
Connor.
front of an
Wait,
open grave. And we're gonna
yeah,
kick
we
each other
are.
in the
And you know
dick
what?
until one of us falls in.
Connor, you're huge. You're a way bigger target than me. Okay, so I don't even have to be half the shot. Okay, it's gonna be. You're telling me the fact that you would even bring up you 7-foot monster. Okay, the fact that you dare to bring up Kamala Harris donating, and by donating, one time tweeting about a bail fund for bail, which is a part of our system, and ignore the fact that Donald Trump just won the election, saying he's going to pardon every single J6er. That's why we lost the election, because we're pretending like these two things are even remotely the same.
Wick, I don't believe you when you say that we lost the election because Kamala did a bail fund rather than inflation. Do you seriously think that bail fund was more salient than inflation?
Hold on. This is important. I think inflation was there, right? But this idea that there was nothing we could do differently, that inflation was all we're going to have us lose, is defeatist talk. We lost on the margins. 2% switch in Pennsylvania, 2%, not even nationally, 2% difference in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, and in Michigan. Those three places. That's it.
Dude,
That's all we needed.
But in terms of
and the
salience,
fact that we didn't get them is in part because, right or wrong, a lot of the moderates, the centrists, or whatever you want to call them, felt that the Kamala Harris represented the far left. They could be wrong.
Biden won in 2020. Biden won in 2020 at the height of all this like leftist
because he was
lunacy or
seen as
whatever.
a moderate, because he's one of the first people who, again, during the primary, during the summer of love, came out against it. He was seen
So
as
did
someone
Kamala.
who was
So
not a
did
moderate.
Kamala.
Hold
So
on,
did
you
Pelosi.
Bernie
So did
bros.
Schumer. So did Jeffries. So did
Okay,
all of Democratic
hold on,
leadership.
I don't care if he is or is not.
No,
We're talking about
you're talking about
perception.
not saying
He was
Biden is a
perceived as a
moderate.
moderate because he was able to say moderate things during the primary. Yes, he absolutely was seen as a moderate candidate during
And
the
you
president-
think that was
the president's
meaningful?
primary.
And you think that was meaningfully?
Who wanted single payer healthcare and socialism. Biden is not seen as a moderate. The Republicans called him a socialist and a communist, all the same.
But again, they're going to say that about everyone, but it doesn't. Like for the maggots,
It doesn't land.
for the
Maggots, that's a good one,
hardcore
yes.
Republicans,
The maggots,
they'll
yeah.
say that about every single one. Yes, but what matters is those margins, those 2%, the squishy middle. Okay, that's what matters. And they saw
also
him,
turnout.
right or wrong, as a moderate because of his rhetoric, because of what he said and the stances he took during the summer of love, right in 2020, and other things. Yeah.
Both of you cunts, actually, both of you cunts were in Milwaukee with me, okay? And here's the thing. When we were at the Trump rally, those people, I guarantee you that they would have told you that their parents were blue dog Democrats, that they were socially conservative union boys who feel like they've been left the behind, and as a result, they're swinging for Trump because they think that he's going to bring manufacturing jobs back. Now, I don't believe this shit because I'm not a moron, but at the same time, pretending that like sweeping for progressive, like, dude, honestly, the amount of psychic damage I take by Hassan Piker getting a CNN puff piece, like I want to slam my head into a brick
Preaching
wall.
to the choir,
That-
though.
What's that?
You're preaching to the choir. Like I saw
Yeah,
the
but
same
this is
puff
every
piece. I saw the same puff
this
piece.
is all the
It was absurd. Yes, you're right.
But the mainstream media treatment of Democrats is just as bad, and it should make you want to slam your head against the wall just as much. The issue that you keep talking about the results and the results and the results, and that's fine. I understand why you're talking about the results, but you're just not talking about the effort. And that's what's driving me crazy, okay? You have two people that are tasked with carrying a rock from one end of the field to the other. One guy's rock is 100 pounds, and the other guy's rock is 5 pounds. And the guy with the 5-pound rock manages to just barely beat the guy with the 100-pound rock.
not
and you've
fair.
got 50 million things to criticize.
Not fair. You're correct.
It's not fair.
It's not fair, but
Okay,
I don't
wait,
fucking
no,
care.
Why?
Fair doesn't
Let me grow
matter.
up.
Reality
Okay,
matters,
it's
and the
not fair.
reality,
Wick,
whether we
Wick.
like it or not,
No.
you have to be better.
You go into leftist spaces.
Yeah, we do.
Hold on, wait. Wick, you're wrong
I
and
wanna
retarded.
finish.
Okay, hold on. When you say it's not fair, the response to things being not fair is violence, period. The whole point of government is
Wait, so then you
instantiate-
do believe
the
in
whole
the
point of
violent
government,
solution at this
the whole
point?
Still on
point of
this
government, the whole point of government is to instantiate fairness. People on their own are not fair. That's why we have a government. That's what keeps us separated
That's
from
for
the fucking
government.
animals.
But politics and government, while
then-
related, are not the same.
Politics
Hold on.
is for
This
government.
is-
You
no, no,
have to have a fair government. If the governmental playing field, if the political playing field is not fair, then all is lost. Because once things are no longer fair, the only thing that matters is power. That's what we have
Hold on.
government to save us
Okay.
from. That's the whole
So
point of
hold
a
on.
republic. That's the whole point of a democracy.
The Republican playbook is infinitely easier than the Democrat playbook, and there will never be a time, no matter how many rules or laws or whatever are ever implemented, there will never be a time that Democrats have it easier than Republicans. And the reason why is because Republicans can largely play to economically established white people and honorary whites. They just can. And by the way, that's already like 60 to 70% of the population. And then the educated break for Democrats, right? But when it comes to Democrat politics, you have to attract all of the minority groups and a healthy chunk of the educated people, and you have to build a coalition of people who sometimes have differing priorities, right? So, for instance, one of the things that hurt you a little bit.
I appreciate this theory.
You cannot tell me with a serious fucking face
I can tell you.
the Democrats did not take major damage this past year because of Israel-Palestine.
I'm sorry. When you've got people in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin who are highly concerned about the border, don't sit here and tell me that Republicans are able to just focus on one.
Do you think Pennsylvanians only live in Pennsylvania?
Why
Hold on. Do you think that they don't have family in Texas, family at the border? They don't know a friend who happens to be. We are so connected nationally and globally. Like, just because they live in Pennsylvania, like our pals are
family living in El Paso, there's family living in San Diego. Give me a buck. Oh my God.
Stephen Bunnell II.
Don't address me by my moniker.
As a working class or middle class American, I do my job, I pay my taxes, and everything is hunky-dory, and then I hear about hundreds of thousands of people coming from what's effectively failed
Hear
state.
about. That's the goal. That's the point. That's what I'm talking about. Hear about.
So if you go into leftist
change, that's why the change has to be we talk about. It has to be we talk about.
Please, I just want to say something. If you go into leftist spaces, if you go into leftist spaces and the alternative media, they loathe Joe Biden. They loathe Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden talked about like on October 7th. They talked about how some of the college protests were insane. So you do see this pushback against this, what you would call like wokeism or whatever, at the highest levels of the Democratic Party. This is why like people like Qanon didn't endorse Kamala Harris. This is why like every leftist creator in alternative media
when did
accumulate
Kamala Harris
social
come out against the protests and the.
No, she did talk. She did
talk about that. And every time she mentioned like sexual violence on October 7th, the collective like progressive media sphere let out a large like groan. So you can't tell me that they don't push back against this stuff. They do constantly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to help.
Sure. Okay, I agree with you that a healthy chunk of this is propaganda inflating these issues. Sure.
Look. Okay, so we're gonna end it now.
80%.
Okay, I love you all. Let me read these super chats, right? But yeah, we'll just do that. I don't want to start. If I say anything else, I'll kick out another round.
Can Biden just pardon all of the undocumented migrants?
Let me get through these super chats, then I'll give each of these lovely people an outro. This has been a panel. Okay. I appreciate y'all. So $5 early super chat for Hunter. Thank you. Artemis Fowl for 20. Prediction: Destiny is going to ignore Biden calling his own DOJ corrupt and engage in political prosecutions and try to lay blame at Trump's feet, even though Biden and Trump agree that DOJ is corrupt. $50 from Artemis Fowl. The Roger Stone pardon and the pardons of those with the Trump officials and aides comes directly from the illegal FISA warrants that were obtained through the illegal actions of the FBI agents, as laid out in the Durham report. $2 from Short Sack Goblin. Wasn't Destiny banging and blowing Nazis? $5 from Artemis Fowl. Nobody made Democrats plant their flag as a party of norms and laws. You people did that yourselves. You are simply ass mad when you got exposed. $2. Can Destiny play the victim card harder? Jesus. $2 from Testicle Johnson.
Your chat's more right wing than mine.
He's a centrist. That's who the centrists attract, by the way. Don't ever forget it.
I'm not a centrist. Hold on. People keep saying I'm a centrist. You think I'm a centrist? You've never met a centrist in your life. I had a centrist on the other day, Tracing Woodgrains. He's a great guy. Trace. He's a centrist. I'm a center-left guy. I'm pretty left. Okay, Artemis Fowl for $10. Trust in the FBI plunge from 57% to 41% since January 6th. That's why you've gained that is what you have gained. The American people don't agree with you, Destiny, but keep going. You've been very helpful to turn off moderates. $2 from a Gay Odyssey says,
I got a cut of these. How much money am I making right now? I'm just kidding. Cut.
Blanket January 6th pardon for gay fight case. $10 from That's Way. Hunter paid the taxes plus penalties. It should have ended there. Republicans then nuked the plea deal that was already excessive. Pardon is 100% justified. $20 from Artemis Fowl. U.S. Judge Marilyn Norica, not Wiseman. threw out the plea deal. The judge who threw it out stated it was likely unconstitutional because it provided absolute immunity from future prosecution, pure corruption.
How is the
Artemis, you're donating to Wick more than me than you usually do. Jesus Christ.
wait, who is it? Was that donation for some Artemis?
Artemis?
Yeah.
I can bring Artemis in if you want to.
No, just be careful because if this guy is clearly like mentally unwell, I don't know if he can like sue you for his back if he's like having a psychotic episode right now or something.
Artemis is
The plea deal is unconstitutional.
okay.
He's backstage.
$5 from Rabid Wombat. Are we upset they got Al Capone just for tax evasion because they could only prove that crime? A criminal was off the streets. Daddy just let one go. $10 more from Artemis Fowl. What is Trump nominating?
Wait, can I ask you a quick question to the
Biden
panel?
to Al Capone?
This isn't even.
What is this?
Yeah, this is. Hold on, and this isn't even political. Hold on, because I'm going to look. I haven't looked. I haven't Googled yet. If I look up Al Capone, I've heard the IRS thing. Is it true that he was only ever convicted on taxes, or was taxes how they like got a foothold into all of the
It was
investigation
only
stuff?
taxes. It was
No
only
idea.
taxes.
Okay.
No, hold
Just curious.
up. I literally just read this the other day. So they had a whole bunch of charges under the Volstead Act, the prohibition stuff or whatever, but they felt like the case was weaker, so as a result, they went with the tax case.
Yeah, they only did that
Okay.
tax stuff.
Fair enough.
It's just there's a wild comparison between Hunter Biden and Al Capone, someone who was
Why?
engaged
It's
in
the
like
Biden crime family. It's literally a 1-to-1.
right,
You
exactly.
go what you
Only
can
second to the
fucking
Clinton crime
prove.
family.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Okay, $5 from Portland is burning. Where's the outrage over Jared Kushner's company refusing to comply with the House Ethics Committee investigating his Saudi dealings?
I'm outraged. It's bad.
Yeah,
I
$5 from
disavow. See how easy that was? I disavow. Yeah.
Disavow.
we all disavow.
Wait, Tuna, do you also disavow?
Effortlessly, actually. In
Okay,
fact,
so that was
I
actually
would say it's the
incredibly
easiest thing to
easy.
say in the world.
The comment to get. Yeah. We
It's
all
$5.
disavow it.
Hold on,
$5.
we got to get through super chats and I
Yeah, we got to get through quick, right? I'm trying to lightning round this. $5 from Artemis Fowl, who brought cocaine into the White House on 4th of July hut. It was brought into entry only for friends and family whose drugs.
Oh, no.
And $10 more from
Oh
Artemis
my
Fowl,
God.
who's single-handedly funding my stream. I like how Destiny could extrapolate treason for Trump's actions for which he wasn't charged for, yet Destiny can't do it for Hunter Biden for one of the easiest cases of pay-for-play corruption.
Oh my
$5
God.
from Cameraman 502. Trump wasn't charged with insurrection. We can drop it. Yes, we can no longer say he led an insurrection, right? And then $10 from Artemis Fowl. Why did Hunter Biden walk away from the plea deal? Because it wouldn't protect him from fair investigations if he didn't think he was going to be charged without it. $5 from someone else. Determinatus. I missed when we were talking about the pardon. Yes. $5 from Antelope. Dev. I've read all the documents and did hours of research. Also Dev. Canadians
Yeah.
lack the ability to get mad, yell, or raise their voice. E Platinimus Unum, y'all are a laugh riot, comedy gold. I'm glad we can entertain you. $10 more from Artemis Fowl, in case anyone forgot. Destiny has publicly stated that when he is in a debate mode, he will lie through his teeth and deny reality if he thinks it will win the debate. $5 more from Audacity. Does Destiny understand that the reason Democrats are constantly whipping themselves is because they are constantly found being hypocrites? $10 from Artemis Fowl. Hutch is laying out the perfect argument for why it's illegal for New York to prosecute Trump because the DA and AG both campaigned on engaging in lawsuits to bankrupt Trump and throw him in jail. $5 from Audacity. How's the Republic dead? Trump won. The people want this. $5. Al Capone was a victim of a potential... Look, I'm going to skip the $5 ones. I'll get to them after the show. Don't worry. $10 from David Hubois. Dems didn't just lose by 1%. National needs to be D plus 3 to 4%. Dems lost it by 5%. Quibbling on this tiny margin is a losing battle. Well, no.
What?
They lost by 2% in 3 states. And if there had been a 2% switch in those 3 states, we would win.
Yeah, but what he's saying is realistically that doesn't happen. You need like if you're whatever you're campaigning on, if it's good enough to bump you by a couple points in those states, you probably are going to be bumped by 4 or 5 points nationally.
Wait, this is. I'm actually not sure the answer to this. Didn't we do significantly better in the battleground states than we did in the rest of the states?
Yes.
It wasn't the result of like heavy campaigning.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it is possible to like campaign specifically in the battleground states.
Doesn't everybody campaign specifically in the? Isn't that why they're called
Right,
battlegrounds?
but we did. The point is that like we did significantly better at campaigning in the battleground states, whereas they were just doing something that was across the board more successful as a result of inflation.
And she might have done better if she had more time to campaign. If she had a 9-month to 10-month to 11-month campaign.
We're gonna get to closing statements. $10 from Silver Camaro to say Dev loves to wear a diaper. And Destiny, when you were having fun time with Fuentes, did you whisper in his ear, "Your body, my choice"? Thank you for
It's
this
true.
$10.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get to closing statements. Pisco and Artemis Fowl are both in the waiting room. If you guys want to stay after, it's up to you. I don't care. Counterpoints, give us what you got. Close us out.
Okay. Basically, I think
just be
this is how
calm.
republics. I think this is how republics die. I think when people start shirking their duty and their principles because they're like, the other guys are pieces of shit, and on a comparative level, my bullshit is less than other people's bullshit. Again, I think this is how we destroy the republic. I am a Republican. I care about a republic. I want it to perpetuate. I want it to be alive by the time my kids are around. That's why I fought against Donald Trump's reelection. This is why I will fight Destiny and Hutch when I feel like they're sweeping for that they don't need to sweep for. I parasocially love all of you. Thank you for the content. And if you want to check me out, my main Warhammer my main channel is Warhammer Counterpoints 40K. Just Google that. And if you like these fiery debates, they're posted on a channel called Counterfire.
And I have links to all these people in the description of my YouTube. Check them out. Please click on the links. Thank you for being
Parasocially.
Destiny, go ahead.
People on their own are not good at governing themselves. This is why we have governments, okay? We have different types of governments. Governments only work when everybody involved in the government is playing by the same set of rules. People have this false assumption that there is some kind of nobility in standing by and watching you and your fellow countrymen get slaughtered. There is no nobility in this. Norms and rules have to be enforced. There is a reason why we do not do polite suggestions against crime, but rather we have jails and prisons for crime. There is a reason why there are penalties for breaking with a lot of the structure of the US government that we rely on people to enforce, and we don't just simply ask people kindly to do it. When people begin to break these norms, there has to be a course correction. We do not hold an election to vote on whether or not we ought to hold a murderer to be accountable for the crime of murder. He is simply held accountable. So people need to get off this weird imaginary playing field where if we just signal harder about our virtues and principles, that somehow we're going to beat a people who have agreed that they no longer have to abide by them. We have seen it play out historically a million times. We call it appeasement. You cannot appease a side who's not willing to play by norms and assume that somehow you're magically going to defeat them. You have to meet them where they are, and they're the ones who are choosing to go there.
Thanks for being here. And well, we got Artemis Fowl. If you want to yell at him, is back. So I'll pull him in later. But Dev, go ahead.
I know you guys are mentioning, fairness and principles. I think even you mentioned it, Wick. But those things don't mean that you adhere to a contract that's already been violated. You have to go as far as they've gone in order to teach them why they need to come back to civility. You can't go farther than they've gone, but you also can't do nothing. And that's basically it.
Dev, thanks for being here. I know it was a little, you didn't get a lot in there, but I appreciate you being here. So thank you. Hutch, go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
I just want to push back against this idea that if you're okay with Biden pardoning Hunter Biden, you necessarily must be okay with, pardoning like every illegal immigrant or every like politically connected person who might be vulnerable to prosecution later on. There's like tactical reasons why one would not be as impactful for the other. And so I just wanted to attack that in my closing statement. Thank you guys for being on the panel. This was fun. It was lively. It was nice to meet the people that I haven't met before. And yeah, thank you, Wick, for putting it on.
Well, thank you for agreeing to it. I really appreciate you. I know this is a little short notice, but we got it together. Quibbles, go ahead.
Destiny did a long thing on Twitter, but I'm just going to read a snippet of it. If everyone on the block agrees not to steal from each other, people can leave their houses during the day to go do more productive work rather than sitting at home guarding their possessions all night. This is in the context of, obviously, norms have been broken. If someone steals a computer, that doesn't mean that I should go become a thief also, right? Even if they've stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of shit in my neighborhood, I still shouldn't go around also being a thief. We need to be able to rebuild that norm because that's a necessary norm in order to have a functional society.
Thanks for being here. Check them out, gang. Links in my YouTube description. Finally, tuna chat.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, Biden's decision's already through. There's nothing we can do about that. I do want to see the DNC and Democrats in general rebuild a relationship with the public. I'm tired of hearing this idea that pardoning Hunter is somehow a radical action. Trump's not in a camp. He's not in jail. The DNC didn't get BG out in time. They didn't get Biden out in time. They're constantly dropping the ball, and now we're accepting this as some kind of like poker chip. Now they're based. Now they're based. They've not been based the whole time. It seems like cope to call this based. And while some of the panel find it easy to relate to being a millionaire playboy drug addict, having their dick leaked on the internet by political opponents, some of us, the popular consensus is that this looks corrupt. This looks bad, and the consequences on the public trust will be dire. They'll probably last several years. I just don't think it's a good move.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for being here. You can leave if you like.
Wait, was that a reference to me or Hunter Biden?
Good question.
I mean, if it can't, you can't tell the difference.
Oh, wait, if we're done with the thing officially, hold on, wait. For the guy that mentioned, what do you do when somebody steals a TV? What do we do when somebody steals from somebody in society?
Yeah, the answer is that we need to be able to build back that norm, that we don't go around stealing.
Oh, no,
Punish
but
them.
when somebody
Punish
steals
them.
something in society, no. What do we do in society when somebody steals?
We try to, I'm totally in support of trying to throw Trump in jail.
They pay
prior to this election.
restitution to make it right. You don't just say, well, let's do better next time, let's rebuild. You do, like, in a sense, you actually do steal back from them.
Wait, I'm sorry. So yes, if you want to,
if I steal $100,000 from you, the way that you get the money back is the government comes and they
I'm in
steal it back
support
from me.
of going after Trump. Going after Trump is a very different thing than letting off Hunter and other people in the progressive sort of side of the aisle off the hook, right?
Yeah, but if what is your way of going after Trump? It sounds like the only way that you're suggesting is the ballot box.
No, not just through the ballot box. I was totally in support of going after him in the court system. It happens that now he's won an election, which is unfortunate, but that doesn't mean that we can't go after conservatives in the court system.
So just to be clear, what can we possibly go after Trump for now?
He's president, so we can't go after him, unfortunately, but we can certainly go after his allies.
All of it is gone. All the crimes that he did, we can't go after any of those things, right?
He's president. I don't understand what you want. Yeah, he's the president. I wish he weren't the president.
I'm showing you the fault in your logic, because we just agreed that restitution is an important part, or that holding someone accountable for a crime is an important part.
Yes,
and now that we've seen that Trump has completely escaped all of that, why? Let's say in the future.
Go for it.
Let's say in the future a similar circumstance comes up and you're a Republican. What would you do? Why wouldn't you do the exact same thing that Donald Trump has done?
Because we want to be able to build back the structure of not stealing.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you
arguing for?
Why wouldn't they just do the same thing? They won the election. They got a reward for it. Why wouldn't they do the same thing?
That's what I'm saying. We need to be going in terms of what we're doing. Right now, we don't actually have any power whatsoever in Senate or Congress. Right. So therefore, every single member of Congress and and Senate, their job right now ought to be to demand, throw things out there and say, hey, here's an anti-corruption thing. The only thing in this bill is anti-corruption. Right. So let's all get on board with this anti-corruption shit. Would you look at that? Silver platter. Here you go, Republicans. Do this anti-corruption. You say you care about corruption. Clearly you don't, because we're willing to give this to you with literally no strings attached. All we're saying is no insider trading, for example, and you're not willing to get on board with that. Huh. Fascinating. I'd love to have that be something that's being presented on the Congress floor. Don't you?
No, because the Republicans have a majority and they don't care. Nothing will happen. They'll say, oh,
you can still present it. What do you want our Congress people to do?
Well, we need to
have
win
no
in
power.
Congress first.
What should they do?
Need to win in well, now we have no power. So now you want to virtue signal.
So
There's nothing wrong with virtue signaling. I don't want my politicians just virtue signaling. I need them in a place where they can pass legislation. Now we can't.
Right now, all they can do for the next 2 years is bully pulpit. So from a bully pulpit perspective, what do you want them to be doing if not saying, hey,
we have the
let's go back against
Thank
this
you,
corruption?
Joe Manchin. We still have the filibuster.
I was gonna say.
Thank you, Joe Manchin. But anyway.
Do we have the filibuster? Do we really, though?
Are you memeing?
Yeah, we really do.
Do we?
Are you memeing?
Isn't he on the way out?
Joe Manchin? Yeah, but we still have the filibuster.
I think
I want to ask quick a question. If you
me?
think it's convenient for Republicans to do so, you think if Trump pushes on them hard enough and it's in a situation in which it would be convenient for Trump, do you think they're going to
I think it might be, but we have reason to believe they won't. Look at 2017, because Trump did this before. Trump in 2017 pushed on the Republicans who controlled the Senate at the time to get rid of the filibuster, and the Senate told him to f off. And
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. You have a lot of confidence in MAGA Republicans.
Well, we can look at what they did with Matt Gaetz. Trump. Hold on, really quick. Gaetz was a weather vane for me. How much of Trump's dick was the Senate going to suck? Right? Like, how much of what Trump were they just going to roll over? Gaetz gives me a little hope in the fact that they took that.
Gaetz gives you hope. Gaetz was
because
Gaetz
the Senate told him no. The Republicans in the Senate told him no.
Do you have any confidence that Kash Patel is going to get
I have no idea.
Canned?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the lengths at where, like, the line is someone like Matt Gaetz, where he's hated by congressional Republicans, just so you know. He, for other reasons not related to his corruption or his tendencies to have like sex with people who are under 18. But I have a question for Counterpoints, because, you know, I kind of split the difference a little bit. You know, I don't agree that the pardon was right, but I also agree with Steven and others that, like, it's crazy to focus on this when you have so much corruption on their side. My question for Connor is, why are you such a useful idiot for MAGA Republicans talking points about debunked hoaxes like the Burisma narrative?
Debunked.
Hi, Pisco. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Debunked.
Because it's true.
The Burisma thing?
So you think that Joe Biden fired the prosecutor in Ukraine to help his son? You fully believe that?
I didn't say that, did I?
Yeah. But do you?
No.
So why are you talking up this, like, Hunter Biden like it's some huge scandal? Like, it matters at all to the American people? That's kind of how you painted it. And you said that Hunter Biden funneled money into his family.
Question, I would like to answer it.
Yeah.
Because it matters to me, and the fact that it doesn't matter to you is why I think you lose.
Yeah. So it matters to you because you just care so much about people not paying their taxes. That's what you really care about.
No, not only. No, actually, I'll go ahead and articulate. Hold on. You asked me a question. I want to be able to answer it. Yeah. So what I think is the popular narrative with MAGA Republicans, which I am sympathetic to, is that there is an underclass and an upper class in the United States of America, and that our politicians and corporate oligarchs can basically do whatever the they want in order to enrich themselves, and it's up to morons like me and people in my class to fight and die and work and toil in order to make them rich. And so as a result, if I'm actually in a meritocratic representative republic, then I would like them to also be held accountable to the rules that I am governed by.
I feel like Democrats do this, right? So Democrats are the ones who are, like, not supporting Menendez. There's indictments against the New York City mayor, indictments against Democratic congressmen, and Democrats, like, distance themselves. Say that's
why
bad.
Am I on a panel that swept for Hunter Biden for 3 hours?
But you're like, no, I really, really care about tax fraud. I really care, not because I have this belief in this conspiratorial Burisma story. It's just because Hunter Biden didn't pay his taxes, and I really care about that. That's an issue of national security.
No, Pisco. It's not this. It's actually because I am repulsed by Democrats who basically go on the internet and they think it's funny that this guy was banging all sorts of whores, smoking crack, got his widow's ex-wife addicted to methamphetamine, bought a gun, had his girlfriend throw it out in a trash can because he was in a manic bipolar disorder, and they're like, oh yeah, based.
Bro,
that's repulsive to me.
When people say
associated with you,
when people like say base to that kind of thing, it's kind of people like Steven are reacting to the fact that we have zero standards. You understand that, like, in order for a Republican to lose an election based on, like, their standards,
we are talking about Hunter Biden here still, right? Not
yeah. So first of all, Hunter Biden is not elected official.
Throw away my guns.
But like, in order for Republicans to lose election, they literally have to be on, like, nudeafrica.com talking about the craziest shit, or literally be. Otherwise, they have no consequences for their misconduct.
Yeah, do I sweep about Republicans, or did I actually choose Democrats?
You're doing another bad thing, though. You're kind of doing another bad thing, which is, like, you're talking up this corruption as though it gets to the heart of what's wrong with America. When Hunter Biden is, it's a rich kid who did some bad things, did some crimes.
Hold on, Pisco, do you think it's corruption that Biden pardoned his son?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
But I think it's, like, crazy to put it in the same conversation as MAGA Republicans. I think people like Steven and Hutch are bringing attention to the fact that our standards are so much higher than MAGA Republicans. And to put it in the same breath.
To be clear, you're not.
What's that?
I don't even know what the corruption would be. I don't know how it's corruption. It's just a pardon.
Well, because I have high standards, Steven. I think that
Okay.
it could not have
Yeah,
been
but your
done.
standards
You are
are
in a
like
different
illegal.
category,
They're
that's
not
what-
related to the law or the purpose of the pardon or anything at all. Or what?
Yeah, yes, but like what I'm saying is an abuse of power. You have to, in order to abuse of power, you have to have the power. And so,
Yeah, but
like,
what's
for
the
example,
abuse?
So for if Biden said, would you say it's based, Stephen, tomorrow? If Biden said, "I am pardoning every single person who voted for me for any crime they've ever done," would you say that's a corrupt pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's done for like an improper purpose, which is blatantly political. I also think like favors for
Do we think
for
that?
family
Do we
members.
think that do we think the Hunter Biden was done for an improper purpose?
Yes, I do.
What? Why?
Because I think it was done for a personal relationship as opposed to the.
So you
ends
don't
of
believe
justice.
him when you were out here virtue signaling about like, oh, I think the thing that you wrote was good and blah blah blah. You didn't believe that, or
Wait,
do you-
the who said was good?
I thought you said that Biden's reason that he gave for pardoning. I thought you said it was fine.
Wait, no, Biden was right, but he can't be the one to make the determination that the interests of justice outweigh it. That there's an irreconcilable bias there that no one is going to believe, and so someone else needed to make that assessment. In my opinion,
Shouldn't we be attacking the pardon power itself at that point then? Like this is again,
there's
this
a
is
case
just
to be made there.
No. I think Pisco just wants Democrats to have a different pardon power, and Pisco would also come up and say, I think that Biden should have actually appointed a committee of Republicans. Where's Josiah? I need him here. Pisco would say, like, I actually think
Josiah,
that
the call's out. Okay.
The big Chris Christie should have decided whether or not he could pardon.
So I do want to point out real quickly that the office of the pardon attorney is basically supposed to check these things and be like, okay, is it corrupt? Is it not corrupt? And Biden bypassed it this time around. He did not. However, Trump bypassed it for all of his pardons. So
here's the kicker, Stephen. If Biden had not pardoned Hunter, wouldn't you be praising him and saying this is the difference between a corrupt president and a not corrupt president?
No, I'm out of
You
oxygen
wouldn't
for
be praising
statements
him.
like that. I'm not praising him for like having such a great transition that America's. No, I don't think there's any virtue in that right now.
I'd be glazing him.
I think the issue is like here's the question. Okay, here this is the question. All right, because I feel like we have such a hard time seeing other worlds or what could have happened. All right. Let's say theoretically that he doesn't pardon him, and let's say that Republicans continue their, alternate universe, another 4 years of investigation, and they manage to find that Hunter Biden, sold crack when he was 22 to some kid in Colombia, and then he gave like I don't know, whoever's running for office, he gave Gavin Newsom like a $20 bill for lunch, and now they've got like another House Judiciary Committee hearing and all this, and now we have another thing in the news cycle, and it's like, Jesus, why the are we still talking about this? Oh, because we allowed Hunter Biden to be fully prosecuted. We allowed the new DOJ that said they were going to do political prosecutions blatantly. Kash Patel did say that. I think even you would agree with that. We allowed them to continue this. So, like, what if there are downstream electoral consequences for not doing it? For just saying, like, let's remove this talking point. Like,
I think it's overdetermined. I think it's overdetermined. I think that we're going to do the political prosecutions anyway.
Yeah, but at least not on Hunter Biden. But not on Hunter Biden.
It sounds like you want to save Hunter. I'm like,
no,
okay.
It's not about saving Hunter. It's what I just said. It's about the fact that now at least this isn't an open issue for the next 4 years for them to harp on.
I do think it's about saving Hunter for Biden, though.
Yeah, but here's
it might be. It might not be.
By definition means it's a personal thing.
Here's the issue with this.
Well, you're saying definitionally it's a personal thing, but it could still be the right thing. That's true, right?
But hold on.
Hold on.
No, Steven. You do like probabilistically, probably Biden is trying to save his son.
I'm not evaluating it that way. There is a world where me and Pisco agree where Biden literally, Hunter like murders like 7 people and he's like full on, and and Joe's like, okay, well, he's my son, right? And I'd be like, okay, this is up. But with the charges that he was facing, with the convictions that he had, with the story of how everything played out, no, I don't think that this is like a huge like. I don't need the personal story for him to say like, oh, because like and it's actually funny too. God, Pisco just brings out the best counter arguments because everything is just so ridiculous. Okay, you say that it's personal, so he shouldn't be able to do it. The only reason he's being attacked is because it's personal. If Hunter Biden was any other person in the United States, except for maybe a Clinton, the Republicans wouldn't be focusing on him so hard. So by saying that like, well, we can't do anything about things that are personal to us, you're literally foregoing doing anything about any of these things because the only reason any of these people are attacked is
All right,
because
I'm going to go a little hard on you, Stephen. I'm going to go a little hard on you. No, he's being attacked for 2 reasons. One is you're right, is because it's personal, and that is materially different, that it's personal, and that's what would make a lot of Trump's pardons different if they were personal versus not. The second is that he lied. He did lie.
Who lied? About what?
Joe Biden lied.
Joe Biden
About
lied.
what?
about not pardoning.
He lied to the
Said he wasn't going to pardon.
Hold on. That's a different thing, and it's not related to this at all.
I understand it's different, but you said this is why people are attacking him, and they're attacking him for 2 reasons. One is because
he's saying attacking
personal.
Hunter, not attacking Biden.
Yeah, you
Oh,
fucking
yeah. Oh, my bad.
nitwit.
Hey, you're right.
Does anybody?
I'm
does,
sorry. I don't know.
Hunter Biden committed
But I will actually, but Pisco, I would actually fully agree with you there that Joe lying about it is bad. I don't think that's defensible unless I go back and I read that there's some super qualifier. That's bad. But I think that's a different thing than You're
saying kind of like it's space, but I think you saying it's space only works given the fact that we live in a system that's been broken, the norms have been broken by MAGA. If that hadn't been the case, if it hadn't been so flagrant,
broken by MAGA, and I do think it's a fair pardon. I think that from what I've read, and the more that I read about it, the more ridiculous all of it seems. I think it's a fair pardon.
Hold on, just to make sure.
Joe Biden lied about it.
Even with in a world where MAGA doesn't exist, no norms have been broken. It's everyone's living in the WIC world where everyone acts good and nice and great. You would still think that this is a fair pardon?
Yeah. What are pardons for if not for stuff like this? Like part of it was a tax crime that he's already paid back these taxes. He's still paying these taxes. It's not like he got away from his tax liability. And the other was for doing drugs and owning a gun. Really?
Why do you think that Biden lied about it?
Hold on.
Hey guys,
Hold on.
if I keep listening to this, I'm going to be compelled to start fighting, and I kind of need to wrap up my evening.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else for me before I dip out?
Yeah, you're an idiot. Wait. Why do you care about this more than anything else in the world? Why do you care about Biden's,
I care about lots of things
Biden's
simultaneously, Pisco. Do you?
You're acting as though he's like one of the biggest problems, and you've been talking about this nonstop. Hunter Biden. You're big on the Twitter files. You think that like there's
because
been
you pussies were fucking wrong, and they'll never admit it.
You misrepresent the nature of the
admit it. Pisco,
You say the DOJ.
I need to say this.
You think the DOJ?
I need to say this.
You understand that this entire investigation was started corruptly, right?
I need to say this. Last year, Pisco, Steven, all you motherfuckers were like, "This is nothing burger. Nothing's going to come from this." Why?
Hey, whoa!
And then hold on. Not only was it a nothing burger, but I'm a retard for giving it about it, and all I care about is Hunter Biden's cock. So I would love to finish. So, anyways, the point is that what ended up happening since that time is because of political pressure. What ended up happening was the deal fell through because there were outstanding issues to it. Then what happened was the same person that you were arguing was going to be objective about the issue ended up charging him with 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors, and a court found him guilty of it. And then you guys will come into a debate, bald-faced, and you will tell me, you will make the same emotional temper.
Oh, you're lying.
You will say that it's a nothing burger again.
So Connor, I have been attacking this investigation since information came out that this entire thing has been built on corruption. This entire thing happened because Donald Trump.
What's the corrupt part of it?
I'll tell you. This entire thing started because Donald Trump, since he took office and with Rudy Giuliani in coordination, has been pressuring the Department of Justice to launch investigations into the Bidens. This is well attested to. There was a separate channel in the Department of Justice created just for Rudy Giuliani to launder his bullshit into the Department of Justice.
You're saying something already, and I kind of want to.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Let Pisco finish, and then Artemis probably.
You can finish, but this is already done.
This was. You want to talk about fishing expeditions? This was a fishing expedition initially. This all started because, some tax guy, this whistleblower guy, is like running Google searches because he hears something about Burisma and decides out of the, head of Zeus to go after Hunter Biden because they had a funnel system to try to launder some of the claims that. Now, it happened to be the case that Hunter Biden did commit some crimes. That is true. But this entire thing, the reason we have a 5-year investigation ruthlessly going into Hunter Biden's, details and experience and that kind of stuff is because there was political interference in the Department of Justice. I never said that this investigation is above board. This investigation is great. All the charges are fantastic. Never once, ever.
No one is expecting you to say that.
This is why this is. So let's say, I love the movie Trading Day or Training Day, right? So you got one of the most corrupt cops in LA. Obviously, it's fiction, blah blah blah. But at the same time, he is always interacting with evil mother. So what you're basically saying is because it's the fruits of the poison tree. You're getting evidence from somebody that is motivated against his target. Therefore, his target is not a deserving of reproach or investigation. That's
no.
Wait. That's literally how our system works, though. You do acknowledge that, both of you, right? That you can't start investigations on that. You can have whole things thrown out that way, right?
At all, except I don't buy it at all.
Yeah. So,
Are you accusing the two IRS
wait,
of being fucking corrupt cops who are getting evidence from the fruits of the poison tree?
So I don't know that there was a legal violation to anything they did. What I'm saying is that the investigations into the Hunter Bidens, including the investigation that you're referencing, had political influence, and I don't even hear you to deny that.
If I go back to Twitter,
I don't even hear you to deny that.
If I go back to Twitter,
we're gonna get a yes.
We're gonna get
a yes or no. We're gonna get a yes or no question. We're gonna get a yes or no
answer. If I
answer.
read all of your tweets about Crossfire Hurricane, you're gonna be like, "Wow, this is actually pretty." Up. I can't believe that the DOJ went after Trump.
Hang on a second. So what I'm doing is countering the lie that you said is we all said the investigation was above board. We all said we were going to stand by the findings of the investigation no matter what. That's the story that you presented, which was a lie. I have been calling out problems with the investigation. I was calling out problems.
If I go back to Twitter right now, I'm not going to get you sleeping.
Yeah. So I was calling out problems in this investigation for a while. I have been for a while. It all started, by the way.
How do you feel about Crossfire Hurricane?
Wait. My debates about Crossfire Hurricane are well available. Everyone can see that there were actually problems with that investigation as well in terms of the FISA, warrants and all that stuff. But
so if I go back and I watch your content, I'm not going to catch you sweeping. So why do I doubt that?
For what? Sweeping for what?
Hold on.
I'm not. No, sorry, I'm not done. I am not done. Yes or no, Connor? Do you believe that there was political motivation from Donald Trump that influenced the investigations into the Bidens? Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, so now we're in a situation where you're do you agree with Joe Biden, therefore, that the procedure against Hunter Biden was unfair?
Hold on. No. As a matter of fact, let me ask you a rebuttal question that's almost exactly pertinent. Do you agree with the IRS whistleblowers that the DOJ was playing footsie with the Biden defense team?
Of course not. I think it's ridiculous and unsubstantiated.
Why?
Okay, then I think you're retarded.
Okay, I want to give it to Artemis. He's giving me a bunch of money, so Artemis, go ahead.
Yeah, so I got a question, Pisco. Because you believe that there is issues with the Crossfire Hurricane, and you do believe in the fruit of the poisonous tree.
No.
Hold on, shut up. Let me ask the question, and then you can say it. You don't have an issue with the pardons that Trump did for all of his aides, like Roger Stone, because all of that stuff spurned from it. Right?
Fruit of the poisonous tree is a specic doctrine that applies to constitutional violations.
Like FISA warrant violations.
Like FISA violations?
That apply to constitutional violations.
Yes.
And they are limited to...
Like FISA?
It is limited to... You want to let me finish or you're not?
No,
I will finish if it kills you, okay? If it kills you. So the fruits of the poisonous tree is what's limited in any kind of evidentiary case, okay? Yeah. So what were the fruits of the Carter Page FISA warrants that you want excluded, and we'll exclude them?
The actual entire case.
What are the fruits of the FISA warrant?
Hold on, let Artemis answer your question. You asked him, let Artemis answer. Artemis, go ahead.
The entirety of the Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller investigation all spurned from those illegal FISA warrants.
No, what evidence was gathered from the FISA warrants? What evidence was gathered from the FISA warrants that you want excluded?
The entire investigation wouldn't have happened.
What evidence do you want excluded?
Wait, that's not even true, though.
Can you name all of it? Can you name a piece of... Wait, what's all of it?
The entirety of the Mueller investigation is invalidated because they committed illegal actions.
No, wait.
That's not what
Artemis, what started Crossfire Hurricane?
The Hillary Clinton paying somebody millions of dollars to create.
That's false.
Yes,
it was George. It was George Papadopoulos drunkenly talking to an Australian diplomat, talking about how the Russians had dirt on Hillary. That's what started that investigation.
Clearly lays this out. The Durham report clearly lays this out. That's not true.
Wait, no, the Durham report says that is exactly true. Yes or no? The Durham report says that the investigation yes. So even Connor, I just want to be clear. Artemis. I just want to be clear. Artemis, you understand that Counterpoints, Artemis, do you just understand that Counterpoints just said, yes, the Durham report does acknowledge that the start of the investigation was George Papadopoulos. Do you acknowledge that Counterpoints just said that?
Hold on, real quick. You guys should fight Artemis separately, only because I watched the Durham testimony, and my understanding is basically Durham said that while it's flimsy, there is sufficient grounds to begin the investigation.
No, the big issue is
based on fact. Did Durham? This is just a fact. Artemis, do you acknowledge that Durham said that the start of the investigation was based on the George Papadopoulos findings?
Durham explained that.
Yes or no?
Hold on, I'm not playing your fucking game here, Pisco. I don't like your.
That's the fact of the matter.
Durham stated that this investigation probably would have never opened had they disclosed that the information came from somebody being paid by Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Stop it. I asked you a question. Did Crossfire
No,
Hurricane?
that was the answer. If you don't like the answer, you can move on.
So this is how you know. This is how you know. This is how you know that someone is a complete idiot, moron who hasn't read these reports.
I'm looking at a Fox News article right now. I'm looking at a Fox News article right now from 2023. The long-anticipated report from Special Counsel John Durham revealed the FBI opened its doomed Trump-Russia investigation after former Trump campaign aide George Papadopoulos repeatedly denied any possible collusion and argued that such activity would be treasonous.
Okay, so me saying no is the entire hold on. So if he says no, that's hold on. If I was told that a guy saying no, I didn't do anything illegal is what caused a investigation to start, I would call bullshit.
That's what Durham said. That's literally what Durham said, though.
Wait.
Hold on.
You disagree with wait, no, we're just establishing what Durham said. All we're doing is establishing what Durham said.
I mean, this ain't gonna be the Pisco hour.
Wait. I just want to. This is one fact. This tells you that MAGA is completely delusional. No. We're not establishing opinions. We're just asking, what did Durham actually say? You can agree with it. You can disagree with it. What did Durham say? Did Durham say that it was started because of George Papadopoulos, anything, or did he say it was because of Hillary Clinton?
The issue being here is that
answer the question, motherfucker.
Pisco, you don't like the answer to my question. I've already answered it. The entirety of the investigation for the Mueller report would not have happened if not for the illegal.
That's not true.
That might be true. Wait.
Not true.
Wait. According to Durham, what started the investigation for Crossfire Hurricane?
It was the opening under. It was Biden and.
Do you know or not know?
What are you talking about? It was George Papadopoulos.
Give him a chance to answer, Pisco. You can't interrupt him every 2 seconds. Go ahead.
There's two different points at which you can initiate it, depending on who you're looking at.
Who did Durham say it was started by?
I would have to actually go look back at that. I don't.
Okay, I'm looking at page 19. It's called the section is called the opening of Crossfire Hurricane from the Durham report. He says, as set forth in greater detail in section 4, the record in this matter reflects that upon a receipt of unevaluated intelligence information from Australia, the FBI swiftly opened the Crossfire Hurricane investigation.
Not FISA.
Do you agree that Durham started the investigation based on the Papadopoulos or not? Do you agree with that or not?
I will agree with it. That's what it says. The issue you asked was
what Durham said.
Hold on.
Wait, is that what Durham said? You agree now?
Hold on.
Before you said it wasn't the case that Durham said that, and now
if you're going to ask me a question.
Yeah.
Okay. If I agree, that's what it says. Then that's what he said. The issue you asked was. Hold on.
I need you to say that you were wrong. Artemis, I need you to say you were wrong.
Hold on. You asked me what was the initiator that caused the fruit of the poisonous tree. I told you the illegal Pfizer warrants and everything spreading from that.
That wouldn't invalidate it.
Initiated by the fucking field dossier.
This, by the way, this is a
no. You answer the question. Yes or no.
This is a problem. This is a problem. It's a problem. So Artemis, here's the question, right? 5 minutes ago, did you say that Durham didn't say that?
Hey, hold on.
5 minutes ago, did you say Durham didn't say that?
What? Okay, hold on. Two things.
Did you say that Durham didn't say that?
Let me answer that if you're gonna ask me questions. You do this all the time. Two things. One, sure, I said that and I was wrong slightly. Two,
slightly or completely wrong.
Hold on, stop doing this. You're doing this Hassan Piker bullshit. You're focusing on irrelevant information for the question you asked because you can't handle the actual answer. The point of the question you initially asked was, what was the fruit of the poisonous tree and what caused it to be poisonous? And I told you the illegal FISA warrants predicated on the Hillary Clinton paid-for dossier.
Yeah, so
you don't like that answer. Hold up.
This is so easy. This is so easy. So any evidence that was gathered based on those warrants, we should exclude.
The issue is that
hold on. The whole reason why we got onto this tangent in the first place is because Pisco, I was trying to hold you to some level of consistency, where basically you were saying that the Hunter Biden investigation was initiated based off of political motivation, but then it did garner real results. And I wanted to hear you say that while this investigation was politically motivated, that you also held the same standard for Crossfire Hurricane. That's all I was trying to do.
I'm going to answer.
Wait. No, you can, Pisco. You're failing for 1 second.
No. I'm going to answer the question.
No, wait, because you're dancing around this. You're dancing around this, okay? You're making the correct point, okay? Okay, listen, okay? Pisco keeps bringing up that he's saying that you have to discard the evidence from the fruit of the poison tree or whatever, okay? However, was every single FISA warrant bad? Was every single start of an investigation bad? Because what you guys are saying is there are 4 houses that are being investigated, and the police found evidence of crimes of the same crime in all 4 houses, but 2 of the warrants that were written for 2 of the houses are supposed to be thrown out. You're assuming that everything has to be tossed at that point. That's not true. That's why Pisco's asking specifically which of the rejected FISA warrants evidence was later built upon or used as part of the investigation. Because if some FISA warrants were legit and some were bad, and the bad ones they didn't follow up on or do anything, then that makes your argument irrelevant.
Because
I would
Let Artemis answer the question. Artemis respond to that.
Wait. Let Pisco do it because I interrupted Pisco and then Artemis. Yeah, sorry. Go.
So I just want to say that is true what Steven's saying. That is exactly why I was localizing into the warrants, because in the actual world, like what you exclude is like what is the evidence that's gathered from the improper process. But the process to start an investigation, the burden is actually quite low. I wasn't saying, and I'm against the pardon, right? I'm not saying that the convictions against Hunter Biden should be thrown out because it was started like irreconcilably politically. I'm just noting and disagreeing with Connor when Connor said that we were building up this investigation to be this like completely pure thing that we cannot touch, that David Weiss is unassailable. I'm not saying that we should toss out the Hunter Biden convictions. I'm against the pardon. What I'm saying is we never built David Weiss to be unassailable. We never built the DOJ to be unassailable. What we want are specific critiques of the DOJ, and we'll evaluate them on a case-by-case basis. And the truth is, in this specific case, I don't even think that Connor disagrees. This investigation would not have happened except for the fact that this is Joe Biden's son. I don't even hear you to deny that, Connor.
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of obvious, but I also think it's kind of irrelevant. You're saying the sentence that this investigation wouldn't have happened unless Hunter Biden was politically connected.
Yeah, because the crime that issue.
Hold on, would we be investigating Trump if he didn't run for president?
Hold on.
What? No, hold on. No. I need to address this because this is the absolute dumbest DGG brain rot bullshit talking point is. He's a private citizen. Every time I hear this, I want to kick myself in the dick like Peter Coffin on live TV. It's the dumbest point to differentiate somebody from their immediate family. It's crazy.
No, it's fine that
no,
he
it's
was.
not dumb actually, because it's actually a huge differentiator. Because generally speaking, for the crimes that we were investigating Trump for, things related to like Russia collusion and whatnot, it wasn't just like did Donald Trump?
Oh, Jared Kushner's a private citizen. You can't investigate him. Oh. That's what I hear.
What? No, the difference was that Kushner was part of a firm that had cut a $2 billion deal with Saudi Arabia.
Wasn't Hunter literally like responsible for the conversation about whether or not Joe was going to drop out or not? Like, obviously, he's a huge part of the Joe Biden network.
Oh, but he's a private citizen. Don't talk about that.
Oh, but he's a private citizen. He has no impact on politics.
I am fair, and I'll concede when I was wrong. I'm bad. Quibbles, I'm sorry. What did Hunter Biden have to do with the White House under Obama, by the way? I'm
sorry. Is your claim that you?
I'm so happy Pisco is here.
On paper job in a previous debate say
that you know that Kushner had an on-paper job and was
considered an architect. I think that's bad.
Right? Which involved Saudi Arabia. What is?
There's no one on this call who's pro Jared Kushner or any of the.
You made the comparison.
Don't compare Jared Kushner to Hunter Biden.
I will every day of the fucking week.
Is that Joe Biden does look to Hunter. There's very good evidence to suggest that Joe Biden does look to Hunter for advice on things that do have to do with how he runs the country, including whether or not he was going to run in time.
Wait, can you name a single thing other than the decision to run?
True.
Wait, can you make it?
Wait, I'm sorry, Pisco. I'm sorry. Is that
literally a consultation for him on whether or not to drop out? What the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, let me answer.
Issues of transportation.
I just want
to. No views on like the Ukraine war. What are you talking about?
Okay, you gotta let Pisco answer. We gotta let Pisco answer. You guys, I interrupt Pisco when he interrupts you. I'll interrupt you when you interrupt Pisco.
So Quibbles just act as though that was the craziest thing I've ever asked. We're about to watch him disintegrate in real time. So you ready for this?
Go for it, please do.
So if Hunter Biden was consulted on Joe Biden's decision to run for president in 2020, would that be, in your opinion, an official act?
I don't know what you mean by official act, but he definitely
would it relate to official?
I think that he absolutely is no longer in the category of private citizen if he is someone who's genuinely part of the conversation about whether or not
is consulting. If you're consulting with private family members, sorry, no, I won't say.
I don't know what you mean by consulting. I imagine Donald Trump asked Barron, but I don't think he asked Barron in the same way that he asked Ivanka or Jared. Right?
So when Joe Biden talked to his...
Wait, do you grant that there's a difference in category between the kinds of like, I'm asking Ivanka, I'm asking my wife,
we're gonna watch you disintegrate in real time. We're about to watch you disintegrate in real time. So I'm gonna ask you. So I'm gonna ask you a very specific question. So everyone understands that one of Joe Biden's daughters was pivotal to his decision to run in 2020. Do you think that consulting with your family, that the family members who give advice on whether to run or not run for office?
I don't know what you mean by advice.
Wait,
Like,
Quibbles, hold on. We're about to watch you rumble in real time. Okay.
Guys, you're filibustering.
There is good reason to believe, in the context of the I want to answer his question. In the context of the 2024 re-election campaign, there is good reason to believe.
I am asking you a question.
Hold on. Let me finish answering. In 2024,
I will mute you all. Okay, I'll mute you all. Stop.
In 2024.
Okay. Let's because you're trying to talk about two different things, and I want to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
So I do want you to answer this question, right?
He has not answered mine.
Wait,
you have to answer yours. Quibbles has asked you a specific question about the 2024 consultation or alleged consultation with
It's a private decision.
Biden to continue to run.
Can I say goodbye? So I'm not gonna.
Can I say goodbye?
Yeah, you both say bye, Hutch.
Wait, stop.
Hutch wants to say bye. Well, you guys are on the same podcast.
This is why it's private.
Pisco, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody else. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Love you all.
Love you.